Shiyu's life completely changed when he was reborn in the world of magical pets. He gained a rare talent that allows him to copy and teach skills from extraordinary beings under specific conditions. Will he be able to become the strongest pet tamer? Let's find out. The story begins on a peaceful day, with Shiyu sleeping soundly in bed. Suddenly, a book falls on his head. As he regains his senses, fragmented memories of an accident while exploring ruins flood his mind. Assuming he was rescued, he is bewildered to find himself in an unfamiliar room. In front of him stands a mirror, and as he gazes into it, he is shocked to see a completely different face and body staring back. It dawns on him that he has transmigrated into another body. Moments ago he was a young archaeologist, but now he is an ordinary high schooler. Scanning the room, his attention is drawn to a book. Picking it up, he realizes it is about taming animals. As he reads, memories from his new identity begin to surface. He learns that he is no longer on Earth, but on a planet called Blue Star. In this world, animals, plants, and even elements of nature like mountains and rivers can evolve into intelligent and powerful beings. To someone from Earth, they would be akin to mythical creatures. Humans here possess special powers called taming, allowing them to control these evolved beasts. Through meditation, tamers create alternate dimensions in their minds, enabling them to capture and tame these extraordinary creatures. Thanks to this ability, humanity has thrived, ushering in the taming era. Tamers are revered as elites, but the wilderness beyond human settlements is dominated by powerful beasts that sometimes wreak havoc. Shiyu recalls that his current self has lost his family to a monster rampage. With a clearer understanding of this world, he fully grasps that he has transmigrated. However, the realization leaves him unimpressed. Compared to his past life, he is now a nobody. Determined to make the best of his situation, he checks his status and discovers he is merely an intern breeder at Glacier City's pet center. Shiyu picks up the book Guide to Interning at Breeding Bases, recalling his loan application and difficult life as an orphan who ended up as a low-ranking worker. Despite his misfortune, he resolves to focus on completing his task for today. In the morning, he must feed the snow wolves alone. In the afternoon, he will help transport feed and gather growth data on green cottonworms with his team. Knowing snow wolves are carnivores with intimidating violet eyes, Shiyu doubts his ability to handle them, but reasons that if an intern can do it, it must be manageable. He recalls excelling in theory classes and possessing a unique taming talent, telepathy, which allows him to communicate with anything. While not suited for combat, telepathy has applications in research and diplomacy. Shiyu decides to use it creatively, aiming to befriend the wolves. Practicing his ability, he activates his taming dimension, a radiant, sparkling cube. Inside, he discovers a floating book with a jewel at its core. Suspecting it holds a second talent, he eagerly opens it, unveiling the skills handbook. This rare talent allows him to copy and teach skills from extraordinary beings under specific conditions, witnessing the skill, touching the beast, and doing both within an hour. Teaching skills requires stamina and compatibility with the receiving beast. Despite these restrictions, Shiyu realizes the potential of Skills Handbook to give him a significant edge. He reviews taming basics, understanding that a tamer's strength depends on their pet beasts, talents, knowledge, and skill mastery. Closing the book, he reflects on his double talents and concludes they are an incredible opportunity. Shiyu tries to make sense of why he has two talents and comes to a conclusion. Shiyu of Blue Planet has the Skills Handbook talent, while Shiyu the Transmigrator has telepathy. With this reasoning, he calms himself and realizes that having two talents is a good thing, actually a bonus. Thinking positively, he convinces himself to use whatever resources are available to him. His train of thought is interrupted by loud beeping sounds, reminding him that it is getting late. Shiyu remembers his daily missions and hurries to his internship, thinking about the snow wolves that might be going hungry. Dressed in a camouflage suit with a blue scarf, he rides an electronic vehicle toward the facility. Once there, he begins searching for the snow wolves' food. He finds some ice-borne boxes and takes a peek inside. Inside the boxes, he sees fresh marbled meat that looks absolutely mouth-watering. Shiyu can't help but notice that pet beasts eat better than most humans on Blue Planet. As he picks up a box to transport, 3 of his co-workers greet him and ask if he is going to feed the snow wolves. They remind him that snow wolves are not friendly and even hint that he might need dandelion clumps for healing, just in case. Noticing Shiyu's concern, they reassure him that there's no need to worry as long as the Wolf King is present. His co-workers laugh it off and offer to help, but Shiyu thanks them and assures them he will manage. They wave him goodbye as Shiyu leaves with 3 boxes in tow. Shiyu enters another building and climbs a ramp leading to the snow wolf breeding area. He decides that his priority should be getting used to this new world. Building relationships can come later, once he has fully adapted to his surroundings. The breeding area is located in a region with white, snowy mountains. While unloading the boxes of meat, Shiyu pauses to gather his thoughts. Suddenly 2 snow wolves appear behind him, their violet eyes gleaming as they spot their prey. A chill runs down his spine, and he cannot tell if it is from the cold or from fear. The wolves release a loud roar, startling him. Shiryu turns around and screams as a pack of snow wolves stands tall before him. Memories flood back into his mind, delivering critical knowledge just in time. Like a computer suddenly loading data, Shiryu remembers that snow wolves possess an ice attribute and are classified as high-level transcendent beasts. Snow wolves, which evolved in snowy mountains, have the strength to destroy steel and the ability to hunt stealthily in blizzards. Their skills include Freeze Crunch, Icy Slash, Snow Mask, and Cold Breath. Shiryu is unsure whether this information makes him more confident or even more panicked. Using his telepathy talent, he reads the thoughts of the snow wolves. The beasts are extremely hungry, so hungry that even Shiryu looks like a potential meal to them. The wolves stare at him with mischievous smiles, and Shiryu wonders if telepathy is truly a blessing or a curse. As the snow wolves continue to approach, Shiryu contemplates whether he is here to feed them or to become their food. Their sparkling violet eyes remain locked on him as he holds the box of meat meant for their meal. Feeling desperate, Shiryu shouts for the Wolf King, hoping for help. He recalls being told that everything would be fine as long as the Wolf King was present. A strong, commanding howl suddenly echoes across the snowy landscape. Emerging from behind the pack is an enormous wolf adorned with gold bracelets on each leg and 2 golden bands on his body. The Wolf King walks boldly toward Shiryu, and the other wolves immediately step aside and sit as he passes. The sight of the majestic creature leaves Shiryu frozen in place. The Wolf King approaches him, lowering his nose to Shiryu's forehead. The cold sensation leaves Shiryu wondering if this is the Wolf King's way of marking him. Perhaps the king is leaving his scent as a sign of acknowledgement. Shiryu is simply relieved that the marking involves a nose boop instead of something more alarming. Before Shiryu can fully process the situation, the skills handbook suddenly materializes before him. He has not summoned it, and its unexpected appearance catches him by surprise. The handbook opens on its own, and a ball of light begins to grow in the center of the pages. A new piece of information appears in the book stating the Wolf King's skill, Intimidation. Intimidation is a high-level mental skill that allows the user to scare, deter, or command others using their aura. It can even knock out weaker opponents entirely. Shiryu stares at the skills handbook in awe as he realizes that the Wolf King has just demonstrated a rare and powerful ability. Shiryu begins his day by using the skills handbook to copy the skill Intimidate, which represents King's trait. Shiryu dreams of teaching this powerful skill to his future pet beast. He even fantasizes about raising a Beast King someday. His thoughts are interrupted by the low growl of the Wolf King, who looks down at him, seemingly curious if Shiryu is scared. Through telepathy, Shiryu perceives the Wolf King's thoughts and notes that the creature has no idea how thrilled he is. He picks up the meat box and begins feeding the snow wolves. Since the Wolf King has marked him, the wolves remain calm and tame. Taking advantage of this, Shiryu reaches out to brush the tops of their heads. To his astonishment, an exclamation point appears, indicating that the skill Intimidate can be taught to them. Overjoyed, Shiryu envisions raising his own Wolf King. However, he quickly tempers his excitement, realizing the dangers of unleashing multiple Wolf Kings without careful planning. Refocusing on the task at hand, he ensures the wolves are well fed. The feeding session ends without the wolves using other skills, leaving Shiryu unable to copy additional abilities. Afterward, he leaves the snowy mountains and drives to his next destination, thrilled by his acquisition of a high-level mental skill. On the way, he spots a greenback eagle soaring above, and a prompt appears suggesting that Intimidate could also be taught to the eagle. The idea of raising both a Wolf King and a Bird King excites him further, but he decides to proceed cautiously. With 3 months of internship ahead, there's no need to rush. As he continues his journey, Shiryu notices a billboard advertising the Iron Bamboo Base promotion, offering Iron Eaters at 50% off for residents of Pingcheng District. He has already booked an Iron Eater as his first pet beast and is delighted with his choice. Despite their name, Iron Eaters are incredibly cute, resembling pandas with green eyes, round bodies, and fluffy fur. Classified as middle-level transcendent beasts, they possess only one skill, Harden, which seems unimpressive in a world of rapid evolution. Shiryu attributes this to their natural laziness but values their rarity and cuteness. Iron Eaters consume metals and minerals to activate their Harden skill. Shiryu starts brainstorming training methods, envisioning a combination of Harden, Intimidate, and possibly a sensing or agility skill to create an extraordinary Iron Eater. Confident in his innovative approach, Shiryu is determined to make this happen, though he must first earn his breeder certificate at the end of his internship. Motivated by the thought of his future Iron Eater, Shiryu heads to his next task, collecting growth data for green cotton worms. Arriving at Experimental Area 01, the team leader explains the task's simplicity, but warns of a punishment involving 1,000 worms for poor performance. Shiyu views this as an excellent learning opportunity and approaches the glass enclosures housing the worms. Green cotton worms are small, about the size of a finger, and primarily farmed species. Despite their low level, they have numerous evolutionary paths. Each worm is bright green with yellow devil-like horns. Shiyu greets them, but the nervous worms squeak in alarm as his hand draws closer. One brave worm climbs onto his finger, but the others quickly retaliate, spraying silk that covers Shuyu's face in sticky threads. Shiyu observes the green cotton worms, realizing their reaction to his presence suggests a need for a different approach. As one brave worm climbs onto his finger, it glares angrily before a green exclamation point appears above its head. Shiyu is astonished to discover that even this tiny creature has the potential to become a green cotton worm king. The worm loses interest and jumps back into its cage, but moments later, the skills handbook opens, notifying him that a new skill silk thread has been recorded. Surprised, Shiyu realizes this bug-type skill could be useful when applied creatively. Additionally, the handbook reveals that skills like silk can be improved through repeated teaching, sparking Shuyu's curiosity about the possibilities. Back in his dorm, Shiyu studies the breeding base and learns it houses 51 pet beasts, most of which possess basic low-level skills. These don't align with his vision of raising extraordinary beasts. He decides to prioritize middle and high-level skills, especially sensing and agility abilities, while being mindful of potential limits to his copying ability. His research also highlights the dandelion clump, a plant-based beast renowned for its healing abilities. Known as a model healer in breeding bases, it becomes Shuyu's next target. Determined, Shiyu devises a plan to see the dandelion clump up close. He heads to the infirmary, feigning a sprained wrist. Upon arrival, a black-haired doctor greets him, pushing her glasses up and calmly assessing the situation. Recognizing him as a new intern, she seems accustomed to such antics but decides to humor him. Shiyu plays his part convincingly, asking if his injury will affect his ability to work. The doctor reassures him it's minor and begins treatment. What follows amazes Shiyu. With a simple snap of her fingers, the doctor summons the dandelion clump, a plant-like creature with small eyes embedded in its cottony body. The process is effortless, requiring no chanting or extra steps. The dandelion clump moves toward Shiyu, its presence calming and magical. It begins healing his wrist, and Shiyu feels the pain vanish almost instantly. He casually remarks that it wasn't too painful, but inwardly, he's deeply impressed by the speed and precision of the treatment. As the dandelion clump finishes, the skills handbook opens again. A notification appears. High-speed healing recorded. Shiyu is stunned to realize he has copied a middle-level wood-type healing skill that significantly accelerates recovery. Shiyu confirms he can copy the skills of pet beasts at the facility and reflects on his progress. With 3 months left in his internship, he knows he has plenty of opportunities to collect skills. After his wrist is healed, the doctor teases him for overreacting, and even the white dandelion plant communicates that his injury was minor. Feeling guilty, Shiyu promises to be more careful and decides to return later with snacks as a thank you gift for both the doctor and her plant beast. He rationalizes that even small injuries treated by pet beasts help improve their skill mastery, making his experiment worthwhile. Back in his dorm, Shiyu realizes that repeatedly teaching skills can enhance his pet beast's mastery. This discovery feels like a game changer, potentially accelerating their training. He reflects on the day's events, amazed at how much he has learned in such a short time. Remembering that the doctor is an intern tamer, Shiyu thinks about the unified examination of the Tamers Association and wonders how long it will take for him to become an official tamer. With these thoughts, he falls asleep. Over the next 3 months, Shiyu focuses on collecting high-potential skills, avoiding low-level ones. He adds Super Sight, a wind-type skill from high-level bird beasts that enhances eyesight, and Absolute Slumber, a recovery skill from a breeder's transcendent pet beast. The latter allows rapid recovery through deep sleep and pairs well with high-speed healing, saving medical expenses for his beasts. Shiyu jokes that his Iron Eater will need to understand his financial constraints. However, Shiyu discovers a limit to his skills handbook. It can only store 5 skills. Frustrated but determined, he brainstorms ways to expand the handbook's capacity, theorizing that improving his taming talent might unlock this feature. He also learns about the importance of strengthening his taming dimension through meditation, which enhances its capacity to handle higher-level beasts, speeds up their growth, and amplifies his taming talents. Shiyu sets a goal to become a professional tamer within a year. With his Glacier City breeding base intern breeder certificate in hand, Shiyu prepares for the next phase of his journey. He heads to the Iron Bamboo breeding base to meet the Iron Eater he purchased 3 months ago. As he approaches the base, Shiyu reflects on his hometown, Glacier City, a second-tier city in the Pingcheng district, known for its specialty beast, the Iron Eater. Standing at the entrance of the Iron Bamboo base, Shiyu looks up the stairs with determination. Shuyu reaches the top of the stairs, wiping sweat from his forehead. The place feels deserted. As he catches his breath, a loud roar startles him. Looking up, he freezes as an enormous iron eater is staring back at him. Confused, Shiyu stumbles back, only to realize it's a mascot. The person inside, Lin Shuju, who is an employee at the Iron Bamboo base, with Iron Bamboo staff written on the costume. Shiyu feels both disbelief and amusement at the sight of someone wearing such a heavy costume in this heat. Introducing himself, he asks Lin, the person in the costume, if it's uncomfortable. Lin explains the mascot helps her connect better with iron eaters, which is crucial for breeders. Shiyu agrees, appreciating her logic. Realizing from her voice and mannerisms that she's a girl, Shiyu humbly admits he's still learning, while Lin modestly assures him anyone can do her job with effort. The conversation shifts when Lin enthusiastically pitches Iron Eater costumes, offering a discount for 2. Hoping for a discount on his Iron Eater instead, Shiyu reluctantly agrees, feeling slightly disappointed but follows her inside. Lin removes the mascot, revealing a tall girl with long black hair and striking yellow eyes, wearing a green panda sweater and shorts. Shiyu silently hopes she won't try to sell him the sweater too. At the reception desk, Lin confirms Shiyu's paperwork is in order, and he can collect his Iron Eater. Excitement builds, but Lin explains only one Iron Eater is left, as Shiyu arrived late. The remaining one has health and personality issues, likely why it wasn't chosen earlier. Shiyu compares his situation to Ash Ketchum's from Pokemon, feeling like this is his version of being left with Pikachu. Determined not to be discouraged, Shiyu follows Lin through the Iron Eater's peaceful environment. The area is serene, with trees, a forest, and a walkway above a flowing river. Lin explains that during the hot season, Iron Eaters are especially lazy, with larger ones being more docile and smaller ones remaining active. They finally reach the last Iron Eater, which greets them with an annoyed frown. As Shiyu observes it, the Iron Eater suddenly rams into a nearby tree with surprising force. Shiyu sighs, thinking this Iron Eater clearly isn't the smartest one, but he's determined to make the most of his new companion. Lin explains that the cub faced complications at birth, making him weaker than others. While most Iron Eaters learn the hardened skill by 1 year old, this cub has yet to master it, which many see as a lack of talent. Lin points out that this has shaped his unique personality. Unlike the typically gentle Iron Eaters, this cub regularly rams into trees, training himself to learn harden and grow stronger. Lin highlights the cub's discipline, noting that his hard work compensates for his lack of natural talent. She emphasizes how rare such determination is in Iron Eaters. Shiyu agrees, acknowledging that while the cub may lack talent, his perseverance is inspiring. Lin assures him that raising the cub in a taming dimension will help him develop his skills faster. She also mentions that the cub's rigorous training gives him an unusually large appetite. Excited, Shiyu decides to take the cub. One of his concerns about Iron Eaters had been their laziness, but this diligent cub resolves that issue. Lin double-checks if he's sure, noting that most tamers prefer talented beasts. Shiyu confidently replies that he values hard work and feels a strong connection with this cub. Lin smiles, reassured by his resolve. When Shiyu asks for a discount, Lin apologizes, explaining that all Iron Eaters are treated equally. However, since this is a special case, she offers a month's supply of Iron Bamboo. Grateful, Shiyu happily accepts. Lin approaches the cub, named 11, and pets him gently, informing him that he's been chosen by a tamer. Through telepathy, Shiyu hears 11's thoughts. The cub is initially resistant, declaring that Iron Eaters aren't slaves and that he can grow stronger on his own. Lin calmly picks up the defiant 11, warning him that running away means no food. She explains that having a tamer will help him learn harden faster and provide a better life. Hearing this, 11 looks at Shiyu and begrudgingly thinks about food and a comfortable bed. Shiyu chuckles, reassuring the cub that he'll provide those as long as he can afford them. 11 reluctantly agrees, insisting he isn't a slave but will accept food and a bed. Lin smiles at his stubbornness, confident that 11 will thrive with proper care. Shiyu asks if they can forge a contract. Lin agrees, standing by as they prepare. Facing each other, Shiyu and 11 form their bond. As the contract is completed, 11 is transported into Shiyu's taming dimension. Lin watches quietly, reflecting on 11's extraordinary determination. She wishes them both a better luck. Shiyu feels the exhaustion of the process but quickly recovers as a warm green aura surrounds him, making him feel energetic again. Lin congratulates him on successfully contracting his first pet beast and advises him to let 11 get familiar with the taming dimension. She warns him not to summon and return 11 too frequently, as it might cause stress. She assures Shiyu that if 11 adjusts well to the taming dimension, he should be able to learn harden within a week. The skills handbook suddenly opens in front of Shiyu, notifying him that a new beast contract has been detected, his tamer points have increased, and new recordable skills have been unlocked. Yu quickly realizes that the energy he felt earlier must have come from his new pet beast, 11. It dawns on him that this same energy likely helped Lin overpower 11 earlier, despite the Iron Eater's natural stubbornness. Lost in thought, Yu processes all the new developments. Lin notices and asks if something is wrong. Snapping out of it, Yu explains that he feels like his body has improved in quality and that he's still adjusting to it. Lin confirms that this is normal for first-time tamers and reassures him that he will get used to it over time. For now, she advises him to focus on getting the paperwork settled. Lin hands him a notepad and asks him to fill in his address so they know where to send the iron bamboo. She explains that the bamboo must be fresh and that hoarding large amounts is not recommended. Once the free supply is used up, Yu can purchase more, but he will have to pay for it. Yu agrees to all the terms without hesitation. After completing the paperwork, Yu shyly asks for another favor. Lin is surprised, thinking she has already told him everything he needs to know. Yu explains that he would like to tour the facility to better understand the natural environment of Iron Eaters, believing that this knowledge will help him take better care of 11. Pumping his fists with determination, he emphasizes how serious he is about being a good tamer. Lin allows him to explore the facility and assures him that he can bring 11 to play anytime. However, she reminds him once again that there won't be any more free food. Yu, ever the opportunist, agrees with a smile, though his mischievous intent is clear. With a new skill slot unlocked in his skills handbook, he plans to use the opportunity to touch the other Iron Eaters and copy their skills. After 2 hours of touring the facility, Yu manages to copy the skills of the Iron Eaters. As expected, they all have the skill Harden, a low-level metal-type ability that hardens their bodies with an invisible layer of armor. This armor can be used for both defense and offense. Yu feels confident that even if 11 has trouble learning Harden on his own, he can simply teach it to him directly using his taming talent. Yu finally arrives at the house he will be staying in. Though it is old, it has a wide, open area with a tree in the corner, perfect for training 11. He summons his Iron Eater, asking him to help clean the house. 11 walks over without hesitation and places his face against Yu's arms, letting him hold him. Overcome by the sheer adorableness of his pet beast, Yu decides that such a cute creature shouldn't be doing mundane tasks like cleaning. Yu forgets entirely about cleaning. Using telepathy, he communicates his intention to teach the skill to his Iron Eater. 11 looks up at him, slightly confused, but quickly responds by balling up his fist. A thin blue film begins to form around his paw. Yu is the one confused this time. He asks 11 if that move earlier was Harden. 11 proceeds to explain, in his own way, that he simply took a nap, and when he awakened the skill. Yu stares at him, and then breaks into a proud smile. He pats 11 on the head like a proud parent, thrilled to see the effect of the taming dimension firsthand. He had been told it would take at least a week for 11 to learn Harden, but it has only been 2 hours. Despite the breakthrough, Yu tries to focus on the task at hand, cleaning the house. He asks 11 to help him tidy up the place, but the Iron Eater hesitates. As everyone knows, Iron Eaters are naturally lazy, and cleaning doesn't count as training. Yu himself seems more interested in testing 11's skills than actually making the house livable. Yu decides to teach 11 Harden again to improve its skill level. According to the Iron Eater handbook he received, there are 4 levels to a skill: beginner, experienced, proficient, and perfect, with an additional rare level called flawless. Since 11 just learned the skill, it is currently at the beginner level. To advance from beginner to proficient, it would normally take about a month of training. Although the skills handbook allows Yu to reteach skills to speed up this process, his logical nature leads him to consider the stamina and effectiveness of using this method. After some thought, he decides to start by teaching 11 an easier skill from his handbook, Silk. However, 11 has no affinity for bug-type skills, which makes it impossible to learn. Yu, determined to experiment with this skill, starts brainstorming how to proceed. As if answering his unspoken prayer, a rustling sound comes from nearby. Yu turns to see a green cotton worm sitting calmly on a tree in his yard. Perfect. The worm squeals as Yu commands 11 to capture it without hurting it. This is the first battle Yu is sending his pet beast into, so he remains cautious. But 11, brimming with confidence, doesn't hesitate for even a second. He rushes toward the tree in a zigzag motion, climbs it swiftly, and leaps onto the branch where the green cotton worm is perched. Without wasting a moment, 11 chops the branch, sending it falling toward the ground. Before the branch hits the ground, 11 lands gracefully and catches the worm in his paw. The green cotton worm, now teary-eyed, looks up at Yu, who praises 11 for the flawless capture. Both Yu and 11 stand over the worm, their eyes gleaming with determination. The worm, however, has no idea what kind of adventure it's just been dragged into. Terrified by the small but powerful Iron Eater that caught him, the green cotton worm trembles. 11, unfazed, tosses the worm casually onto the ground. The poor worm lands flat, feeling the intimidating presence of the two fierce creatures standing over it. Shiyu notices something interesting as he observes the worm. A single mark on its body indicates that the skill Silk has only been learned once. This excites Shiyu, as it means the worm has a lot of potential for skill improvement. Looking at the worm intently, Shiyu asks, half-jokingly, if it plans to go anywhere. Not that the worm has anywhere to run. To seal the deal, Shiyu kneels to the ground and gently picks the worm up again, ensuring it won't escape. The adventure for this little green cotton worm is just beginning. Shiyu watches the green cotton worm lying on the ground, reflecting on his 3 months as an intern working with them daily. With practiced ease, he removes the tangled silk from his arms, a task now second nature to him. The worm stares in surprise at Shuyu's skill and composure. Moving closer, Shuyu uses telepathy to threaten it, warning that it will be fed to 11 if it doesn't cooperate. 11, nearby, drools at the thought of food, his opportunistic nature mirroring his tamer's. With his test subject secured, Shuyu is ready to experiment with his teaching skill. An exclamation point appears above the worm's head, indicating that the silk skill is teachable. As he places the worm in his palm and prepares for the process, the skill's handbook appears, and light begins to gather around his hand and the worm. The worm freezes in surprise as the process begins, while Shuyu is overwhelmed by exhaustion, hunger, sleepiness, and fatigue hit him all at once. Despite this, he remains focused, noticing a second stripe appear on the worm's back. Mission success. The worm seems to experience a flood of memories linked to the silk skill, which might explain its initial confusion. When the process ends, the worm appears stronger and more confident. It leaps from Shiyu's hand and unexpectedly binds his hands mid-air with upgraded silk threads. Instead of being startled, Shiyu is proud. The quality of the silk is impressive, and though it's still no match for his abilities, he admires the worm's effort. The worm, feeling defeated, submits to Shiyu. Shiyu observes that the worm's silk skill has upgraded from beginner to experienced level. He notes that the silk it produced matches the high-quality threads from the best green cotton worms at the breeding base. However, the worm hasn't grown in size despite the upgrade. He wonders whether the level increase was due to the worm's own understanding of the skill or if his teaching power played a role. Regardless, the experiment is a success. Exhausted but satisfied, Shuyu considers teaching another skill. Opening the skill's handbook, he finds the teaching feature locked for 8 hours. Shuyu realizes the cooldown is likely due to stamina consumption, a protective mechanism to prevent burnout. Deciding to rest, he notes that the cooldown for low-level skills is 8 hours, and he dreads how long it will take for higher-level skills to unlock. For now, he places the green cotton worm in a small cage on a tree, noting its new golden house matches its upgraded status. As he rests, Shuyu begins to think about ways to shorten his recovery time. If pet beasts have supplements to aid their training, surely tamers could benefit from them too. Shiyu tells 11 he'll prepare bamboo shoots with sliced pork and rice for dinner. As expected, 11 begins drooling at the mention of food. Shuyu asks him to rest and promises to call when dinner is ready. However, 11 refuses, irritated by the suggestion. Determined to train, 11 feels behind in terms of skills and insists on starting immediately. Shuyu realizes that, as Lin said, 11 isn't a typical Iron Eater. He wonders if 11 feels unworthy of food unless he trains. After another attempt to get 11 to rest, Shuyu reluctantly agrees to let him practice outside. 11's mood instantly brightens. Once outside, Shuyu notices there's no equipment for proper training. 11 points to the house walls as a potential target, but Shuyu stops him, horrified at the thought of his walls being destroyed. Instead, he suggests practicing the harden skill in short bursts on specific body parts, reassuring 11 that more advanced techniques can come later. 11 agrees, and a potential disaster is avoided. Shuyu sighs in relief, adding training equipment to his growing list of things to buy. His urgent financial needs weigh on him, prompting him to brainstorm ways to earn money. He focuses on raising the green cotton worm, hoping that once its silk skill reaches perfect mastery, it will produce high-quality silk that could be sold. For now, the worm is low maintenance, eating only ordinary leaves, but Shuyu sees it as a future source of income. After dinner, Shuyu checks on 11 and finds the Iron Eater already asleep on his bed. 11's belief that training is required before and after meals touches Shuyu. He wonders if 11's determination stems from a fear of abandonment. To reassure him, Shuyu gently promises that he will never leave him. Later, as Shuyu lies on his bed, he tries to sleep but is kept awake by financial worries. He also wonders why he doesn't have a phone or computer, but his curiosity about using a panda as a pillow takes precedence. Deciding to leave these concerns for tomorrow, he finally falls asleep. The next morning is peaceful. The green cotton worm happily uses its silk skill to gather leaves for breakfast. Suddenly, a loud sound breaks the tranquility. Shuyu bursts out of the house, excitedly announcing that he's fully recovered. He opens the skills handbook and confirms that the cooldown has passed, allowing him to teach skills again. Feeling energized, he declares that the day is off to a great start. His plan is to teach 11 the hardened skill again to improve its mastery, but first, he needs to buy supplements. Before leaving, he checks on both his pet beasts, telling 11 to continue resting. He promises to let him out after his shopping trip. Shuyu greets the green cotton worm as he leaves the house, surprised to see it gathering leaves for itself. The worm munches away carelessly, completely unbothered. Shuyu reflects on its diet, realizing the worm has been eating the leaves from a neglected pimon tree instead of the nutritious plants found at breeding bases. He resolves to improve its diet by collecting better leaves on his way back to ensure the worm stays healthy and productive. As Shuyu walks through the busy streets, he notices how much his life has changed since becoming a tamer. At a stoplight, his attention is caught by a two-wheeled carriage pulled by blue dogs. The driver, sporting a green mohawk, expertly steers the dogs. Shuyu feels a twinge of pity for the dogs, realizing that beasts are used not only for combat, but for everyday tasks as well. His thoughts are interrupted by a woman shouting at her gemstone cat, a luxurious brown and white feline adorned with gemstones and gold bangles. The cat walks down the street, far more expensive than Shuyu's possessions. As the woman chases it, Shuyu wonders who is walking whom, the lady or the cat. He recalls that gemstone cats typically require a tamer to control them, but this one doesn't seem to have one. Shuyu remembers that the cat's optical skills evolve when paired with a cat's eye gemstone, making them highly valuable. The gemstones themselves are even more expensive. As he continues walking, Shuyu starts to consider how gemstone cats could be another potential money-making opportunity in the future. He eventually arrives at the 100 Herbs Hall, where a clerk with curly green hair and glasses greets him. Shuyu asks about selling silk, and the clerk explains they buy only high-grade silk produced by green cotton worms raised on a specific diet. The clerk hands him a guide outlining the silk requirements and pricing. Excited by the potential profits, Shuyu calculates how much money he could make by selling high-quality silk. With tight finances and monthly loan repayments stretching his budget, Shuyu knows he has about a year before his inheritance and financial assistance run out. If he doesn't succeed as a tamer by then, he may need to take a regular job at the breeding base and let 11 go. Refocusing on his plan, Shuyu decides that improving the green cotton worm's silk skill to perfect mastery is crucial for his success. Selling high-quality silk could provide the steady income he needs. The clerk, noticing Shuyu deep in thought, asks if he's interested in selling silk. Shuyu politely declines for now and instead purchases the vials of medicine he needs. After completing his purchase, Shuyu heads home, feeling exhausted from the walk with his shopping bag. He adds a cell phone and mode of transportation to his growing list of things to buy. Shuyu places the grocery bag on the table and inspects the medicine he bought. Mingshin capsules. These capsules, made from ingredients of plant-type transcendent beasts, are well known for reducing fatigue and improving physical strength. Many tamers use them after battles for quick recovery. For Shuyu, they're a luxury, and he knows he must use them sparingly. After a restful night, Shuyu summons 11, who eagerly stretches and gets ready for the day. Shuyu observes his pet and senses the positive energy stemming from the taming dimension. 11, now fully awake, clenches his fist, already eager to train. He declares that he wants to train for 6 hours, a very specific goal. Shuyu sighs, advising him to slow down and stressing the importance of a work-life balance. 11, however, stares blankly, not understanding the concept. Shuyu begins to explain to 11 that the energy from the taming dimension comes from him. While he appreciates 11's enthusiasm, he needs to be mindful of Shuyu's own limits. He knows that using the skills handbook and strengthening his taming dimension takes a toll on him too. Shuyu realizes that 11 believes anything other than training is undesirable, and he worries about his own stamina with such a dedicated and motivated pet beast. Shuyu starts planning 11's next lesson, considering teaching him absolute slumber to help him recover from fatigue. Meanwhile, 11 continues rolling around, consumed by the desire to train. He even shouts his intentions, prompting Shuyu to stop him and say they'll focus on advancing his hardened skill first, before absolute slumber. With a smile, Shuyu pinches 11's cheeks and uses the skills handbook to reteach Harden. Light gathers between them as the lesson begins, with the green cotton worm observing from its cage in surprise. As the process intensifies, 11's expression changes dramatically, and he roars loudly, clearly feeling the effects of the lesson. After the lesson, Shuyu feels the fatigue but finds it manageable, similar to the previous day. He wipes the sweat from his forehead and notices the dark circles under his eyes. He decides to take one of the Mingshin capsules. Upon swallowing it, he feels immediate relief, his fatigue melting away. Looking at 11, Shuyu notices his pet's renewed energy. 11 lets out a triumphant battle cry and raises his arm. With a sudden, forceful movement, he slams his fist into the ground, causing the floor to shatter. Shiyu panics, demanding to know what 11 is doing. 11, however, is calm and seems impressed with his own strength, pointing at the broken floor. Shiyu, both frustrated and amazed, explains that 11's hardened skill has reached the experienced level, which significantly boosts his combat abilities. While Shiyu acknowledges the progress, he is upset about the damage caused to his home. 11 looks at Shiyu, eagerly as if asking what he has done to him. Shiyu crosses his arms and asks 11 if he's still in such a rush to train. 11 mimics him, but then looks disappointed, realizing he didn't truly earn his recent power upgrade. He insists on training intensively for 24 hours straight in exchange for keeping his newfound strength. Shiyu sighs, warning 11 that non-stop training won't help him level up but only push him to his limits. Nevertheless, 11 is determined. To prevent damage to the house, Shiyu sets rules for the training. While 11 trains, Shiyu relaxes on the porch, reviewing the skills handbook. Thanks to the Mingxian capsules, his stamina is restored, but the cooldown for teaching skills is still 24 hours, aligning perfectly with 11's training. Shiyu observes 11's improved ability to maintain the blue light on his fist, now able to harden his skin for 30 seconds and activate harden faster. The focus today is to improve speed and learn to harden multiple body parts simultaneously. Worried about the house's safety, Shiyu realizes he needs proper training equipment. This prompts him to add it to his shopping list, along with other necessities for improving 11's environment within the taming dimension. He decides that for 11's growth, environment is the key element to improve. While reflecting on his taming dimension, Shiyu recalls that binding intensity, scale, and environment are the key elements. With 11 already disciplined, Shiyu focuses on creating the best environment for his pet's growth. He plans to teach 11 absolute slumber to help with recovery, and is confident that with proper care, 11 will progress quickly. However, financial constraints remain a challenge. To address this, Shiyu visits a shop to browse steal options, mindful of future costs. Despite the concerns, he reassures himself that the investment in 11's growth will be worthwhile. The next day, Shiyu's green cotton worm enjoys a healthier diet, as promised. Shiyu meditates, focusing on improving 11's taming dimension's environment. Watching 11 train with determination, Shiyu looks forward to working on hardening skills the following day. A new day begins, and Shiyu hears a knock on the door. He hurries to greet the visitor and sees that the durable alloy steel boards he ordered from Fatso Gang have arrived. After completing the transaction, the delivery man informs him that the items can be returned at no extra charge if there are any defects. Once the delivery is done, Shiyu summons 11 to help inspect the boards. 11 appears, looking as cute as ever, but now with a red scarf-like cape, giving him a super panda appearance. Shiyu is thrilled, realizing that improving the taming dimension environment is already paying off. Feeling proud, he rewards 11 with extra food for his progress. Shiyu explains they will focus on hardening training and begins to mention that the house isn't ideal for this. However, 11 waves his tail, urging Shiyu to test his strength on him, declaring that brave iron eaters feel no pain. Shiyu dismisses the idea, knowing he would be the one hurt, and introduces the steel boards instead. Shiyu instructs 11 to harden his body and practice charging downward onto the boards from a height. Naming the routine training by falling, he explains they can adjust the difficulty by changing the starting height. 11 hugs Shiyu joyfully and calls him a genius. 11 begins training, breaking through stacks of steel with ease. After inspecting his hands and noticing cuts, he uses high-speed healing to recover instantly and resumes training. Inside the house, Shiyu reflects on the progress. 11's harden has reached proficient level, and the steel boards double as training tools and food. Meanwhile, the green cotton worm's silk has also reached proficient level, producing stronger silk. Shiyu feels satisfied with the supplements that help him train both beasts efficiently. With harden and silk progressing steadily, Shiyu decides it's time to test their skills in combat. He calls 11 to take a break and eat lunch to conserve energy for an actual combat. 11 crumples the steel sheet he's holding with ease, eager for the combat Shiyu mentioned. Understanding that food, training, and combat are crucial for pet beast growth, Shiyu decides not to rush into dangerous encounters. Instead, he opts for a regulated battle at a reputable center, ensuring the fight is against a beast of the same level. On the way to the battle center, Shiyu reflects on the exams he must pass to become a professional tamer, the basic, combat, and survival exams. Feeling tired just thinking about it, he rules out the survival trials for now and decides to join a Tamers Association wilderness training instead. He reassures himself that a professional setting is the safest option. Shiyu arrives at the Pingcheng District Tamer Battle Gym, where he's greeted by a green-haired receptionist. He explains that it's his first time and asks for a tour. The receptionist explains the 3 battle options: arranged battle, where he picks his opponent; random battle, where he's matched with an opponent of the same level, and Gamble Battle, where the loser pays for both participants. After considering his options, Shuyu rules out the arranged battle since he doesn't know any other tamers. He opts for the Gamble Battle, hoping for free training. The receptionist explains that battles are categorized into levels 1-6 and levels 7-10, with both costing 100 yuan, covering referees and medical services. Shuyu feels the pinch of spending money, but decides the cost is reasonable for the services provided. Shuyu is confident in Eleven's abilities, considering his level 5 status and skills like Harden at the proficient level and high-speed healing. He believes 11 can handle a level 6 opponent, hoping for a challenge but not a dangerous fight. After filling out the form, Shuyu asks if he can increase the stakes, but the receptionist informs him that it's not allowed. He's given a card and asked to wait in the lobby for an opponent. In the lobby, Shuyu notices another tamer, Chen Kai, filling out his own form. Chen Kai, a blue-haired student with glasses, boasts about his skills and his ice armadillo pet beast. Confident that his classmates no longer challenge him, he's here to improve. The two tamers notice each other, realizing they will be opponents. Both are soon called to Arena 11, a massive oval-shaped arena filled with spectators. The arena manager and referee, Shiraishi, informs them they have 1 hour to use the arena. Then the referee signal to start the match. Shuyu calls his pet. 11 steps forward, standing proudly before Shuyu, prepared for battle. 11 is a metal transcendent level 5 Iron Eater cub, with a proficient level Harden and a beginner level high-speed healing. Chen Kai calmly opens his taming dimension, crossing his arms as an armadillo-shaped figure materializes behind him. Ice glaciers form around the arena, and a majestic ice armadillo emerges. The beast stands tall, its yellow eyes glowing with blue and yellow body armor and sharp claws. The ice armadillo is an ice transcendent level 6 beast, with an experienced level ice armor and icy slash. The battle is broadcast live in the gym's lobby, attracting a crowd. Yue, a student in the audience, recognizes Chen Kai as one of the strongest tamers in their grade. She confidently explains to her friend that nobody in their class can defeat Chen Kai and praises the ice armadillo's power. When she notices Shuyu with an Iron Eater, she predicts that Shuyu's chances are slim, believing 11 is not strong enough to break the ice armor. Back in the arena, Chen Kai commands his ice armadillo to use icy slash. The beast charges forward with lightning speed, its claws glowing with icy energy. The referee and spectators are in awe of the armadillo's strength. As the attack lands, 11 activates Harden, and to everyone's shock, the ice armadillo's claws crack under the impact, unable to harm 11, who stands unharmed. Seizing the moment, Shuyu orders 11 to counterattack. 11 leaps high into the air, aiming for his opponent. Chen Kai quickly commands his ice armadillo to activate ice armor, encasing the beast in a thick layer of ice. But 11 is undeterred. He strikes the ice armadillo's shield with his hardened fist, shattering it after a brief struggle. With the ice armor broken, 11 delivers a final powerful blow, sending the ice armadillo flying across the arena. The beast crashes to the ground, unconscious and unable to continue. The battle ends in a one-sided victory, leaving the spectators stunned. Shuyu smiles, proud of their hard work and training, while Chen Kai, wide-eyed, screams in disbelief at the impossible turn of events. Chen Kai's ice armadillo crashes into the wall, the beast motionless. Chen Kai is left staring in disbelief, muttering that it's unscientific, insisting that he didn't breed a half-flawed ice armadillo. Shuyu, pleased with the result, mentally reviews the battle. He's impressed that 11's Harden worked even better than expected, and wonders if their celebratory dinner the previous night had helped boost 11's morale. The referee walks over to check on the unconscious ice armadillo. Shuyu, confident the battle is over, doesn't even consider the possibility of the ice armadillo getting back up. His thoughts quickly shift to finding stronger opponents for future battles. The referee, equally stunned by the speed of the match, wonders if 11's Harden truly was at the proficient level, especially for a level 5 Iron Eater. Both Shiraishi and Chen Kai sit silently, processing the unexpected outcome. In the lobby, Yue and her friend are equally shocked. Yue, who initially dismissed Shuyu and his Iron Eater, is now re-evaluating the situation. Her friend points out the obvious, that Chen Kai lost, and Yue, flustered, denies any connection to him. She speculates that Shuyu must come from a wealthy family, or be a top-tier tamer with access to high-grade supplements or unique training methods. Despite her earlier confidence in Chen Kai, Yue hopes he can recover from this defeat. Chen Kai recalls his ice armadillo to his taming dimension, eyeing Shuyu as he pats 11 on the head. 11 waves enthusiastically at the defeated tamer, almost taunting him. Chen Kai, determined to focus on his training back at school, vows to never forget this defeat. The referee declares Shuyu the winner, meaning Chen Kai has to cover the battle fees. Yu briefly celebrates with 11 before sending him to rest in the taming dimension. Chen Kai, still curious about his opponent, asks if Yu is a student from Pingcheng. Yu confirms he is from Pingcheng and had recently graduated from Glacier City. Chen Kai, assuming Yu must have been one of the top tamers from Glacier City, is stunned by the apparent skill gap. Chen Kai, feeling motivated to train harder, takes the defeat in stride. However, as he reflects on their conversation, something doesn't quite add up. He realizes that Yu's timeline doesn't make sense. Chen Kai is about to graduate, but his graduation is still a month away, while Yu claims to have already graduated. Shiraishi overhears and explains that different majors have different graduation timelines, with battle, referee, medical, and breeding majors graduating earlier due to internships and job placements. This revelation hits Chen Kai's pride hard, especially when he learns that Yu isn't even a battle major. Shiraishi asks if Chen Kai's ice armadillo needs medical attention, and though Chen Kai knows it will heal in his taming dimension, he decides to pay for the health center's services. Sullenly, he agrees to pay the 200 yen for the match and leaves. Meanwhile, Yu is already considering his next challenge. He approaches the receptionist, hoping to face a stronger opponent. However, he learns that tamers are grouped by their pet beasts' levels and cannot challenge those at a higher level. Frustrated but undeterred, Yu asks about arranged battles. The receptionist informs him that while he can arrange a battle with someone, he doesn't know anyone personally to invite. He leaves, determined to find someone at the Tamers Association who might present a worthy challenge. Yu steps off the bus and heads to the Tamers Association, his mind racing with thoughts of finding a worthy opponent or an interesting mission to pursue. The Tamers Association is a bustling hub for missions, skill testing, and tamer training, offering an opportunity for individuals like Yu to further develop their skills and their pet beasts. With the increasing demand for capable tamers, the association runs regular wilderness training sessions in Pingcheng and offers various missions that range from low-level tasks to more challenging ones. Despite his usual preference for more rewarding and money-making ventures, Yu wonders if any of the available missions could be suitable for Eleven's training. Inside the building, Yu immediately heads to the mission application machine. While he has money on his mind, today, his focus is on finding a mission or opponent that will challenge 11 and help him grow. After browsing through the 1-star, 2-star, and 3-star missions, Yu is disappointed. Many of the available tasks, like capturing stray cats or exterminating earth rats, seem tedious and far from what he is looking for. He jokes to himself about the absurdity of some of the missions, such as a task involving wind locusts that would have 11 flying to catch the pests. Yu notes that, while amusing, these missions do little for 11's development. However, one mission catches his eye, exterminating earth rats. These small red creatures, though weak individually, are cunning and can become dangerous when they attack in swarms. Yu sees the mission as an opportunity to work on 11's reflexes, envisioning it as a game of whack-a-mole. He decides to take the task on, hoping that it will improve 11's agility and precision, skills that would prove valuable in future battles. Yu picks up the Earth Rat mission card and begins to leave, but then he spots a familiar face, Chen Kai. Chen Kai, still reeling from his defeat, looks up in surprise as Yu greets him and casually asks how his ice armadillo is doing. Chen Kai awkwardly admits that his pet has recovered, but his pride is still bruised from the loss. When Yu asks if he's taking a mission, Chen Kai is curious about what kind of task someone as skilled as Yu would pursue. Yu shows him the Earth Rat mission card and explains his plans to exterminate the pests. Chen Kai is surprised that Yu intends to tackle the mission alone, pointing out that Earth Rats are elusive and tricky to catch in large groups. Most tamers, he explains, form parties to deal with the mission more efficiently. To Yuyu's surprise, Chen Kai enthusiastically proposes they form a team to tackle the mission together. Although Yu initially considers politely declining, Chen Kai reassures him that he will recruit 2 of his classmates, forming a 4-person team. Chen Kai even begins laying out an elaborate plan, assigning roles such as stalling, distracting, and attacking the rats, which makes Yu feel like they're preparing for a much bigger battle. After thinking it over, Yu agrees. Facing a swarm of earth rats might be too much to handle alone, and forming a team could provide valuable experience in teamwork and strategy. It could also help him establish connections with others, which might prove useful down the line. Chen Kai is thrilled by Yu's agreement and promises to recruit his classmates by the end of the night. Meanwhile, Yu heads to the 100 Herbs Hall to stock up on supplies for the mission. The clerk, who recognizes Yu from his frequent visits, hands him multiple boxes of clearing capsules, giving him a concerned look. Yu smooths things over by explaining that 11 has been working hard and that he's been feeling a bit sickly, an excuse he uses to avoid drawing attention to his frequent supplement purchases. However, he resolves that he should find a different supplier soon to avoid seeming overly reliant on supplements. After a long day, Shiyu returns home to find 11 happily munching on bamboo, content from their earlier victory. Shiyu quickly eats his dinner, satisfied by their success, but his mind is already on the next step in their journey. He looks at 11 with determination in his eyes and announces that it's time to learn a new skill. He pinches 11's face playfully, but 11 seems dejected, feeling that his strength should come from his own efforts, not external help. Despite his pet's hesitation, Shiyu wastes no time and starts teaching him the supersight skill. Shiyu explains that supersight will enhance 11's eyesight, granting him superior vision and night vision when activated using mental energy. In an instant, Shiyu teaches the skill, leaving him exhausted while 11's eyes burst with green light. The Iron Eater, curious about his new ability, walks toward the door to test it out. The results are immediate. 11 is able to see clearly at night, and he quickly decides that this skill will be a helpful addition to his training, allowing him to work even harder, especially during the night. Meanwhile, Shiyu struggles with the toll the skill teaching has taken on him. He notices that the cooldown for teaching a new skill has extended to 48 hours, and he feels the strain in his body. Though he secretly hopes for a peaceful night's rest, 11 is already eager to put his new ability to use. Shiyu, although tired, is happy to see his pet's enthusiasm. Elsewhere, Chenkai is busy making arrangements for their Earth Rat mission. He opens their group chat, searching for volunteers to join the team, and is shocked when Yue, the pink-haired girl from earlier, privately messages him. She admits to watching the battle between Chenkai and Shiyu and expresses interest in learning how Shiyu trains his Iron Eater. Seizing the opportunity, Chenkai invites Yue to join their party and asks her to bring someone with a control-type pet beast. The next morning, Shiyu meets up with Chenkai in front of the Tamers Association. Shiyu looks exhausted, but he brushes it off, pretending to be fine. When the rest of the team arrives, Yue and her friend, Yu Jingjing, Shiyu is caught off guard when they bow and refer to him as Master. Despite the awkwardness, Shiyu reassures Yue, who seems embarrassed by the disparity in skill between her Iron Eater and 11. Each team member introduces their pet beasts. Chenkai introduces his level 6 Ice Armadillo, Yue introduces her level 6 Iron Eater, and Yu Jingjing presents her level 6 Brambles, a plant-type beast with the Entangle skill. Shiyu briefly explains that his Iron Eater is level 5 and has a proficient level Harden, which surprises the others. They are especially shocked by 11's proficiency in Harden, though Shiyu keeps quiet about the effort and training that has gone into it. After their introductions, the team registers their mission and boards the bus to Beiki Village. During the ride, they chat to get to know each other better. Chenkai is surprised to learn that Shiyu is a breeding major, not a battle major, and Shiyu explains that he finds fighting and killing distasteful. Instead, he believes that mastering the art of breeding pet beasts is the key to long-term success. He shares that his breeding expertise helped him train 11 to develop a proficient level Harden. As the bus arrives at Beiki Village, the team is warmly welcomed by the villagers and given green jumpsuit uniforms. The cheerful atmosphere helps to lift everyone's spirits as they prepare for the task ahead. Shiyu, taking the lead, instructs the team to summon their pet beasts and prepares to use 11's super sight to locate Earth Rats more efficiently. Yu excitedly asks Shiyu if 11 was also acquired from the Iron Bamboo breeding base. Shiyu no DS, confirming it, but Yue isn't satisfied with just that answer. She speculates aloud that Shiyu might be an apprentice of the Bamboo Rock Gym, a prestigious training center dedicated to raising Iron Eaters. Unfortunately for her, Shiyu shakes his head, denying the claim. Yu explains the Bamboo Rock Gym is a specialized academy led by Grandmaster Tamer Lin, a legendary figure in Pingcheng known for cultivating Iron Eaters with unique elemental abilities like electric and fire-type moves. Grandmaster Lin is considered the strongest tamer in Pingcheng, having spent his life perfecting methods to raise Iron Eaters. Based on Shiyu's remarkable progress with 11, it's natural for Yue to assume he's connected to the gym. Yu Jingjing chiming in mentions that while Grandmaster Lin is undoubtedly powerful, his daughter Shuju might surpass him someday. She was the youngest professional tamer in Pingcheng, passing her pro exam at 18 before enrolling in one of the 9 majors. Now graduated, her current rank and abilities are unknown, but her reputation as a prodigy remains. The students discussed Shuju's career, realizing she had also majored in breeding and returned to Pingcheng for research. Ye remembers talking with Lin when she helped her pick out her own Iron Eater. Yue recalls Lin's goal is to research whether Iron Eaters can evolve further, a task that has stumped even her father, Grandmaster Lin. Shiyu, however, quickly shifts his attention when 11 starts growling and pawing at the ground. Shiyu confirms with a smile that 11 has detected an Earth Rat, and the group immediately springs into action. Chenkai pulls out a pair of binoculars and pinpoints the exact location of the rat. Together with 11's guidance, they locate their first target, a level 4 Earth Rat. scurrying across the field with an apple in its mouth. Chen Kai explains that the rat is isolated, meaning minimal danger, but they must act quickly to capture it before it reacts and escapes. Yu Jingjing reminds the group that earth rats are highly sensitive to temperature changes rather than sound or light. Their pet beasts, especially the iron eaters and ice armadillo, might alert the rat if they get too close. The plan is to send Brambles closer since it can pretend to be a plant and use Entangle to capture the rat. The team immediately puts the plan into action. Brambles extends its vines toward the earth rat, but the rat proves to be incredibly quick. It ditches the apple it was holding and darts across the field. The ice armadillo jumps in front of it, attempting to block its escape, but the earth rat leaps over the pet beast with ease and heads straight for a nearby burrow. Before the earth rat can escape, 11 lands directly in front of the burrow with an impact so strong it startles the rat. With 11 blocking its path, the rat freezes momentarily, giving Brambles the opportunity to successfully use Entangle. The earth rat is now surrounded by 3 pet beasts, all of whom contributed to its capture, but the spotlight is clearly on 11. The students, startled by the sheer force of 11's landing, realize that even a horde of earth rats would struggle against this iron eater. With their first target secured, the group takes a brief moment to catch their breath. They hand the captured earth rat to Shi Yu, acknowledging that without 11's presence, the rat might have escaped. Despite the successful capture, the group now understands that earth rats are more challenging than they initially thought. Even Yu Jingjing's Brambles, a natural predator, couldn't catch the rat immediately. Chen Kai and Yue give Shiyu an approving thumbs up for a job well done, but Shiyu knows the real credit goes to 11. As the group discusses their progress, Shiyu calculates the payout in his head. At 10 yuan per earth rat, capturing 100 rats would barely justify the effort and the nutrition costs required to recover afterward. He decides to focus on using this mission to train 11's super sight skill, which will make it worthwhile. The group devises a new strategy, deciding to split up and cover more ground efficiently. They agree to only target lone earth rats and to regroup at noon if anyone encounters a horde. Yu Jingjing enthusiastically poses a challenge to see who can capture the most rats, which motivates everyone to push harder. However, Yue looks a little worried, knowing that she'll likely come in last place. She doubts that her Iron Eater and 11 are not from the same species. Shi Yu gets into position with 11, and telepathically instructs his Iron Eater to aim for 20 earth rats before noon. However, 11 declares with serious determination that he will catch 200. Shi Yu tells 11 that he doesn't care about the numbers as long as the farmland and fruit trees remain intact. To keep 11's enthusiasm in check, Shi Yu sternly threatens to deduct the cost of any damages from his food budget. That warning immediately gets 11's attention, and he agrees to proceed cautiously. They run through their plan for the day. 11 is supposed to train his reflexes and physique. Shi Yu encourages 11 to refrain from using skills and assures him the mission will still be easy. Shi Yu knows that using skills would inevitably lead to destruction of the surroundings. To compensate for this restriction, he promises to buy extra food with the reward money. Motivated by these terms, 11 gives a thumbs up. At this point, it's clear that 11's priorities are training first and food second. 11 starts working. He sprints and catches one earth rat with his bare hands. Then he quickly runs left and right, chasing the pests while Shi Yu observes alongside a local. The local asks Shi Yu if his pet beast is really an iron eater, because he has never seen one so hard-working. Clearly, 11 is one of a kind. While holding earth rats in each hand and even biting one, 11 telepathically asks Shi Yu why he isn't being taught the skill Earth Sense. 11 believes digging into the ground and catching the rats there would be much easier. Shi Yu asks 11 if he now sees the value of learning more skills. 11 just looks back triumphantly, stepping on an earth rat while still holding the others in each hand. Shi Yu tells him he won't teach that skill because he plans to save the skill slots for rare ones. The local then asks them to slow down, saying it's hard to keep track of the numbers because of how quickly everything is happening. He cannot believe he is seeing an Iron Eater so proactive. 2 hours later, 11 is still bouncing left and right, while the other 3 students have already returned. They are all surprised to see that Shi Yu's Iron Eater still has so much stamina left. Shi Yu humbly explains that this is just part of their training. He mentions that all his Iron Eater does is eat and train, even dropping the line, "This is nothing." But really it's not. Shi Yu describes their 24-hour training sessions, which sometimes include jumping off roofs until 4 a.m. Chen Kai's eyes pop out in disbelief when he sees that 11 has caught 22 rats in 2 hours. That's 1 rat every 5 minutes, and double 11's name. Chen Kai shakes Shi Yu and reminds him how dead tired he looked when they met in the morning. He asks how Shi Yu keeps up with 11's endless energy. Shi Yu recommends the clearing capsules he's been taking and pops another one. The 3 students are in awe, watching him take the supplement and wondering why he works so hard. With a look of admiration, Chen Kai praises Shi Yu's effort as a Tamer. He also thinks this might be the reason he falls behind and starts to feel hopeless about competing with city tamers. They change the subject when Shuyu asks how many rats the others caught. Chen Kai got 7 and Yu Jingjin got 6. Yue looks at her classmates in annoyance and starts tearing up because her Iron Eater only managed to catch 2. She even calls her pet beast stupid. 11 hears this and proudly remembers his 3-in-1 capture. He's confident that he's just built differently. Even the local pets 11 on the head but reassures Yue not to feel bad, saying that her Iron Eater cub is doing its best. The local admits that 11 is simply the most efficient pet beast he's ever seen. However, 11 seems annoyed at being touched by a stranger. Shiyu gets their lunch packs and they take a lunch break. While eating, they observe 11 tirelessly running around the fields as usual. Shiyu cannot seem to catch a break with his very passionate pet beast. Yui asks Shiyu if his pet beast ever rests, stating how unbelievable it is for an Iron Eater to act this way. She remembers taking a long time to pick her own cub and wonders how she missed one like 11. Shiyu continues eating and answers her with a question. He asks how they think 11 mastered a proficient level of Harden. They respond in unison, agreeing that he has a point. Yu thinks about how Shiyu brings supplements and pairs them with an extremely active Iron Eater. She concludes that they are the perfect match of weirdos. Chen Kai, on the other hand, sees their hard work as inspiring. He assumes this is why the professional tamer examination passing rate in the city is so high. He asks if all city tamers are like Shiyu and how Shiyu trained his pet beast to be so disciplined. Shiyu is bombarded with questions by the top student, who is eager to learn. While the questions are exaggerated, the answers are simple. Shiyu explains that he takes supplements because using the skill handbook is draining. He adds that 11's hardworking personality is his own strength. Shiyu didn't even have a choice when picking his Iron Eater. Both Shiyu and Shiyu know that 11 has great potential. Shiyu admits that his partnership with 11 is a coincidence and can't be explained simply. Chen Kai stands up, convinced that training hard is the key to success. Yu Jingjin also stands up and promises to purchase clearing capsules. Chen Kai smiles, thinking he has discovered the secret recipe. If Shiyu can do it, he believes he can too. The students are young and full of hope. Shiyu quietly wishes them luck with a tired expression. They begin talking about the professional tamer examinations. Shiyu is a breeding major, so Chen Kai asks if he'll take the professional breeder examination. Shiyu responds that he plans to take the professional tamer examination instead. This has been his plan all along. Shiyu knows he could become rich as a professional breeder, but this would expose his talents. He fears the public's reaction, as it might be viewed as unfair, like a cheat code. After all, there are laws in their country, but there's also a class divide between high-ranking tamers and civilians. Big companies control everything, and nations compete fiercely. Tamers are also highly competitive with one another. Shiyu understands that humans face the constant threat of highly intelligent, transcendent beasts taking over their territories. He wants to gain the ability to protect himself before fully utilizing the skill handbook. Passing the professional tamer examination would give him access to higher-level beasts and their advanced skills. Shiyu thinks about how he, 11, and Warren could survive in this world, and the only way is to become a professional tamer and improve his own abilities. Chen Kai happily tells him that if he takes the exam in 2 years, they might see each other again. However, Chen Kai is lost in thoughts. He notes that the next exam is in 6 months, but their pet beasts need to reach level to qualify. For the first round of assessment, the minimum requirement for the pets to have at least extraordinary combat power. Even for next year, reaching level 10 will be a challenge for their pets, let alone achieving extraordinary combat power. Chen Kai assumes that he and Shiyu should participate in the assessment next year. However, Shiyu has other plans. He confidently tells them they'll only meet if he fails the next exam. Shiyu thinks that if he cannot support 11 and his training with his little savings, he must get the professional certificate as soon as possible to provide for his pet beast. Chen Kai seems concerned and asks Shiyu, wouldn't it be a little hard for 11 to go from level 5 to extraordinary in just 6 months? Chen Kai looks concerned, knowing that some beasts get stuck before reaching the extraordinary level. Everything will depend on the beast's ability to overcome that challenge. Shiyu remains confident, saying that while reaching the extraordinary level may be difficult, level 10 should not be a problem. He points out that it's not impossible for beasts below this level to take part in the professional exam. Chen Kai asks if Shiyu is referring to the special exam. Yue and Yu Jingjing are confused and ask if he means the leapfrog challenge, where a beast can challenge one of a higher rank. Shiyu explains that if a beast cannot reach the extraordinary level, they can still take the leapfrog challenge. For pets with high proficiency skills, it should be easy to challenge higher rank beasts. Chen Kai remembers Shiyu's Iron Eater has a proficient level Harden, which makes sense for it to challenge stronger beasts. He feels Shiyu is better than him in every aspect, even in planning, and reminds himself to train his ice armadillo harder after their mission. Suddenly, a loud whistle interrupts their conversation, and an announcement is broadcast throughout the village. It's an indoor release animal-tied yellow warning signal, meaning a group of ferocious beasts is approaching the city wall, and their numbers are expected to grow. Citizens are instructed to follow the defense guidelines. The announcement causes panic in the village. People scramble to finish their work and gather their belongings. The old man looks worried and tells Chen Kai and his group to head home. Chen Kai, wanting more details, asks about the situation. The old man explains he doesn't know much but suspects the beasts in Snow Mountain are causing trouble. He warns that if the situation worsens, evacuation orders may follow. Shiyu thinks it's not time to panic yet. The difference from 10 years ago is that high city walls have been built between the Snowy Mountain and Pingcheng District. The Guardian Corps and the Tamer Association have stations on both sides of the wall to defend against beast rampages. Shiyu believes that if there's a real risk of a breach, a different code will be issued. Chen Kai suggests they check the situation, but Yue opposes, saying they'd only get in the way. Shiyu agrees with Yue and suggests they return to the Tamer Association. Since this is a long-term mission, they can always come back later and complete it once things settle down. They can also learn more about the warning at the association. Back at the Tamers Association, the group asks the receptionist about the situation. The receptionist doesn't know the specifics, but mentions there have been 2 code yellow warnings this month. Before they can process the information, someone calls out to Chen Kai and Yu Jingjing. They turn to see their teacher, Mr. Zheng. He explains he was nearby when he saw the group chat Chen Kai sent and decided to check on them. Shiyu looks surprised to learn the students have a group chat with their teacher. Mr. Zhang asks Chen Kai if the people with him are friends. Chen Kai confirms they are tamers from another school. Mr. Zhang quickly realizes the group is concerned about the rampage warning. Chen Kai asks how serious the situation is. Mr. Zhang suggests they move to a quieter place to talk as the Tamers Association lobby is too noisy. As they walk, Shiyu is already thinking ahead, knowing the area where he lives is not very safe and wanting to prepare for the worst. Outside the Tamers Association, Mr. Zhang reassures the group that the defense facilities are much better than they were 10 years ago. He explains that the Tamer Association has the resources to respond quickly. He also mentions that city tamers would be deployed if Pingcheng couldn't handle the situation alone. Furthermore, if the Guardian Corps struggles to maintain defense, reinforcements from surrounding cities will assist. Because of this, Mr. Zhang doesn't see the Snowy Mountain as a major threat and emphasizes that the government is well prepared for rampages. The group stops at a garden to continue the discussion. Chen Kai remains worried about the possibility of a full-scale rampage, but Mr. Zhang reassures him. He says it's only a small-scale gathering of beasts, not as big as the incident 10 years ago. Shiyu, however, is curious about the cause of the rampage. Snowy Mountain beasts are ice types, so they shouldn't be trying to move toward the city due to environmental differences. He knows rampages are often caused by competition, food shortages, or other resource issues, but none of these reasons make sense for Snowy Mountain. Shiyu notes that rampages should be predictable, making the incident 10 years ago an anomaly. He suspects this may be related to the event that caused Blue Planet Shiyu to lose his family. Mr. Zhang confirms this sadly, saying the rampage 10 years ago remains a mystery. As they stand beside a giant statue, Mr. Zhang changes the subject. He asks if they know about Glacier City's history. The young group is curious, but Mr. Zhang clarifies that the story he's about to tell is based on guesses. 2,000 years ago, Snowy Mountain didn't exist. The area was once the territory of a highly developed tamer tribe. One day, an ice dragon appeared and landed on a mountain. Its shining eyes, icy stare, sharp claws, and enormous wings marked it as a powerful creature. The dragon's arrival started an ice age, making life hard for the tamer tribe. A single dragon became a huge problem for the entire tribe. The tamer tribe fought the ice dragon to reclaim their land. The battle lasted for days, and the aftermath of the fight formed Snowy Mountain. The listeners eagerly ask who won. Mr. Zhang believes the tamer tribe won. He continues, saying that ruins of the ice dragon were discovered in Snowy Mountain. The ruins resemble a cave with inscriptions at the entrance. Rumors say the ice dragon's remains are sealed inside, and its roars can still be heard, even after 2,000 years. Yu Jingjing is so scared by the story that she tries to hug Shiyu, but he pushes her away. Yue and Chen Kai are equally stunned by the tale of the dead spirit. Mr. Zhang doesn't mind their reactions and points to the statue behind them. He explains that it's an artifact archaeologists dug up and that the stone giant is the tamer tribe's totem. He mentions that Shiyu should know a thing or two about archaeology. Everyone stares at the statue, and Shiyu asks if the tribe defeated the ice dragon using the totem. Suddenly, Shiyu hears a voice saying, "That's not how it was." He's startled, not knowing where the voice is coming from. The voice repeats the same sentence. Shiyu observes the giant statue's violet eyes sparkle and wonders if the voice is coming from it. He initially thinks it's similar to when Ultraman transforms, but then he realizes he's in the wrong universe. He focuses on the statue, thinking it should not be alive. Telepathy, he believes, only works with living creatures. He wonders if the statue would even be placed there if something were wrong with it. The voice repeats again. Yu is puzzled. Yu Qingjing notices he's spacing out and brings him back to reality. Although Yu initially seems nervous, he reassures them everything is okay and that he's just admiring the statue. He concludes that the others can't hear the voice. It feels like telepathy, but this time, it's the statue initiating contact. He thinks the statue may have turned into a spirit, but since they're in a busy area and other tamers are around, they should have noticed. Yu wonders if fatigue is making him lose his mind. Mr. Zhang then needs to leave for an appointment. He assures the group not to worry about the rampage, saying that tamers can handle any situation, even if the ice dragon rises again. Chen Kai thanks him, and then he asks the group if they want to go back to hunting earth rats. However, Yu has other plans. Before they can finish asking him, he's already running away. Chen Kai realizes he doesn't have Yu's contact number and wonders how to set up their next mission. He also wonders if Yu even owns a phone. Yu heads directly to the Pingcheng District Library, clearly looking for clues about the stone giant. He picks up many books on Blue Planet's history, reading about the Legends, Totem, and Taming eras. The Legends era was when legendary beasts ruled the planet. During the Totem era, humans began living in territories controlled by powerful beasts. The Taming era began when humans mastered taming. The Taming era is divided into ancient and modern times. More than 100 years ago, 7 human nations formed an alliance. Though the books offer detailed history, some information is missing. Yu searches through the Alliance taming database, but finds data unreadable or missing. There are no records about the disappearance of the first legendary beasts or the battle 2,000 years ago. He finds this suspicious, as if something is being hidden. Despite this, Yu learns a lot from the history books. His curiosity is piqued as his archaeologist instincts take over. The mystery has sparked this reaction in him. He remembers how, on Earth, he became a mythologist and explored ruins daily until a mountain collapsed on him. That event led to his transmigration here, where everything is more dangerous than Earth. He regrets not staying home to just play games or read comics. Yu pulls at his hair, frustrated with the past. Now that he's here, he wants to live safely and enjoy this life. Yu closes the book in front of him. Despite the intriguing mysteries of this world's history, he decides not to live the same way he did before. He stands in front of the stone giant statue again. Using telepathy, he asks if the statue spoke to him earlier, and if it disapproves of the history Mr. Zhang shared. Yu grows frustrated when the statue doesn't respond. Annoyed, he threatens to leave if it doesn't speak. Still receiving no answer, he turns his back, recalling that Mr. Zhang's story was based on theories with no actual proof. Determined to uncover the truth, Yu commands the statue to reveal what happened so he can share the real history. Suddenly, the statue begins to shake, and Yu feels a sense of victory. But as it cracks open, violet light bursts from within. A loud boom follows, and the light surges uncontrollably. Despite the chaos, Yu remains unharmed. He stares at the statue, waiting for more. A terrifying violet ray, like thunder, strikes the spot where the statue had been. Yu's face turns pale as panic sets in. He realizes the gravity of his earlier question. The once brave Yu now runs from the light, screaming for 11 to save him. The commotion spreads and citizens panic, thinking a rampage is occurring. Some try to calm others, suggesting it might be an earthquake. Meanwhile, the president, having been notified of the unusual events, looks out his window, sensing something significant, though he remains calm. Yu, still unaware of the full extent of what he triggered, returns home, anxious. He feeds 11, urging him to grow stronger to protect them in this dangerous world. 11 devours the food without a word, seemingly unaware of Yu's concerns. Yu reflects on the earlier events, the statue's breaking and the horror on his face. He deeply regrets his actions and prays that everything will be okay. Deciding to stay home for safety, he enters a lockdown mode, only planning to go out for essentials. As Yu tries to settle down, Warren approaches, reminding him that he hasn't been fed yet. Quickly, Yu provides him with leaves and fruits. Warren seems surprised by the abundance but eats eagerly. After a long day, Yu decides to rest, hoping the next day will bring answers. Yu plans to teach 11 high-level skills like Intimidate and Absolute Slumber, but decides to wait for now due to exhaustion. Instead, he focuses on helping 11 master his current abilities. He calls in the green cotton worm as a sparring partner. Although reluctant at first, the worm is bribed with food and starts using its new Silk Ray skill, which is strong enough to pierce Yu's clothes. 11's task is to either dodge or predict where the silk will land and use Harden on those areas, enhancing his agility and reflexes. Yu leaves them to train while he goes out for groceries. On his way, Yu overhears rumors about the Tamer Association being closed due to the previous night's incident. He grows anxious, realizing that the disappearance of the giant statue could link him to the chaos. While he wasn't directly observed, Shuyu worries that someone with special abilities might trace the event back to him. He decides to act unaware, fearing the consequences of becoming a criminal over a simple curiosity about a stone statue. Meanwhile, a research team investigates the phenomenon Shuyu accidentally triggered. They suspect it is an unexplored ancient dimension, caused by a rip in time and space. Lu, a researcher on the team, is uncertain about the exact nature of the event. The team discusses the ice dragon ruins connected to the glacial plain. Lu mentions that someone must have interacted with remnants of history to trigger the dimension. They are determined to find the person responsible. 4 days later, Eleven's quick heal and super sight skills are at an experienced level, while Harden remains proficient. Shuyu feels confident in their progress, but continues searching for opponents to test their strength. He returns to the 100 Herbs Hall to buy more supplements, so frequently that the clerk suggests he cut back. The clerk mentions a student in the south buying the same pills in bulk, and Shuyu wonders if it's Chen Kai. Curious, Shuyu asks the clerk about the Tamer Association's closure and the explosion. The clerk, seemingly well-informed, reveals that an unexplored region has appeared, and Pingcheng will soon take off. Shuyu is confused and asks him to explain. The clerk informs Shuyu that an unexplored dimension has appeared recently. Shuyu learns that the unexplored dimension is an alternate dimension, similar to a taming dimension. The clerk explains that taming dimensions exist independently after the death of a Tamer, becoming small worlds filled with energy, even after losing their connection to pet beasts. These dimensions may contain rare resources and creatures, but they're usually weaker than when they were active taming dimensions. Shuyu is relieved that the situation is not as dire as he thought, but still curious about how simply interacting with the statue summoned an unexplored dimension. The clerk reassures him that no dangerous monsters have been reported inside, and top tamers can handle any threats. On his walk home, Shuyu reflects on the statue's destruction and wonders about the connection between the unexplored dimension and true history. He feels regret for breaking his promise to expose the truth, and decides to wait until he's stronger before returning. However, when a knock comes at his door, he grows nervous, wondering if someone has tracked him down for destroying the statue. The voice outside claims to be offering welfare aid, but Shuyu, suspicious, calls out. The door opens to reveal Lu Qingyi, a doctor in archaeology from ancient capital university. She mentions being at the site of the unexplored dimension earlier and asks for Shuyu's cooperation. Surprised, Shuyu invites her in, introducing himself as a jobless tamer. As they walk through the yard, Lu directly asks if he had anything to do with the statue's destruction and whether he heard a voice coming from it. Shuyu is taken aback, feeling as though she knows everything. Lu explains that while the statue is not alive, Shuyu's telepathy allows him to sense the emotions and convictions of inanimate objects, giving them a form of spirit over time. This ability, called hearing the voice of history, is rare, and those who possess it are called hearers. She tells him that this talent is valuable in archaeology, especially when uncovering hidden histories or deciphering ancient ruins. She then shows Shuyu an image of the unexplored dimension he triggered, and explains that he stirred the spirit of the statue, causing the appearance of an ancient ruin that might reveal the true history of Glacier City. Lu believes Shuyu has great potential and invites him to join her as an archaeologist, sensing his natural talent for the field. Shuyu feels a whirlwind brewing in his mind. This was the life he was trying to escape, the life he had convinced himself not to enter again. Lu is not even finished speaking when Shuyu spirals at the mention of being a natural archaeologist. He silently vows that he does not want to do archaeological work in this life. His goals are simple: become rich, keep 11, find a girlfriend, get a cat, move to a safe city, and live a carefree life. He knows what an archaeologist's life looks like and wants nothing to do with it again. Shuyu politely declines the offer to join any archaeological association immediately, cutting Dr. Lu off without hesitation. Lu clarifies that she is not asking him to join an archaeological association. While the humans miscommunicate, the pet beasts are bonding, with the worm sitting on the wind lion's nose and 11 trying to climb up too. The humans try to align their understanding of what is being offered. Lu explains that asking Shuyu to join an association for archaeologists would be a waste. She reveals that she is offering him a different organization. There are only 11 hearers in the entire nation, a number lower than the number of legendary tamers or divine-ranked beasts under national protection. That is how rare Shuyu's talent is. Shuyu feels embarrassed for jumping to conclusions. Lu does not seem to mind and tells him to consider the offer. She tries to convince him, pointing out that having this talent means he likely has some interest in history, which is what allowed him to hear the voice of the stone statue. Shuyu adamantly denies this, reasoning that there is no money in history or archaeology. While the pet beasts continue playing, Lu gives Shuyu time to think and takes a picture of the cute scene. Shu Yu begins to bask in the realization that he is a national treasure, one of 11 hearers in the entire country, rarer than legendary tamers and totem guardians. He smirks, noticing the coincidence of the number 11 repeatedly appearing in his life. Using simple logic, he concludes that because his talent is so rare, he will certainly have a greater advantage if he joins the organization. This is the law of supply and demand. Acknowledging this, he humbly decides to hear out the archaeologist. Shu Yu starts asking further questions, now intrigued, likely swayed by the possibility of a comfortable and lucrative life. Lu teases him with more benefits, stating that he could receive more privileges than a legendary tamer. She looks him in the eye and confirms that if he joins, he will hold a higher status than a legendary tamer. She even implies that he could become so rich he could hire legendary tamers as bodyguards to accompany him when exploring ruins. Forget about running a silk factory. This sounds like the life Shu Yu has always wanted. Shu Yu recalls that the president of Glacier City's Tamer Association is only a Grandmaster-level tamer. This means his potential status could surpass that of the president. Legendary tamers command overlord-ranked creatures and are in charge of offices in first-tier cities, so joining this organization could place him above even them. Shu Yu becomes hopeful and excited, overwhelmed by the positive possibilities. The organization seems amazing, and with so much to gain, he feels there is nothing to lose by trying. Despite his initial hesitation about being forced into archaeology, Shu Yu now feels fortunate. What started as reluctance has transformed into excitement. He tries to act normal, though he is brimming with joy inside. He asks Dr. Lu what his duties would be if he joined. Lu assures him that the organization has a simple structure, with no restrictions or requirements. She believes that having the hearer talent naturally brings a passion for learning and discovery. Lu looks up at the sky and recalls how hearers are often the first ones on the scene when new legendary ruins are discovered. Hearers typically support or even lead explorations. Possessing the ability to hear the voice of history marks someone as extraordinary. While this comes with expectations and pressure, she emphasizes how special this ability is. Shu Yu seems less concerned about the pressure and more thrilled by the benefits, especially after hearing that there are no assigned duties. Being able to do what he wants, while gaining access to high-ranking bodyguards, unlimited resources, and abundant information, sounds like a dream. Before his daydreams carry him further, he asks for the name of the organization. Lu proudly presents her badge and introduces the National Department for the Strategic Investigations and Reinforcements of Ruins, also known as Department 11. The organization handles critical ruins, and its members are regarded as the special forces of the archaeological field. Shu Yu internally groans at the repeated appearance of the number 11 in his life, but quickly rethinks it, deciding that it might be his lucky number now. Using the benefits as bait before explaining the organization's purpose seems to have been an effective strategy, as Shu Yu begins to feel like he can't refuse the offer. Shu Yu gives a thumbs up to confirm his agreement to join. He asks Dr. Lu if she herself is a member of the department. Lu confirms that she is one of the 11 members. Shu Yu winces at the number 11 coming up again but says nothing. Lu reaches out her hand to welcome Shu Yu to Department 11 and informs him that he is now a probationary member. Shu Yu shakes her hand thoughtlessly and agrees, only to freeze mid-thought after realizing what just happened. Lu has tricked him. Shu Yu feels uneasy when he hears the word probation. Lu reveals the test that new members must take to become official. Shu Yu feels annoyed at being tricked, but since he already agreed, he has no choice but to comply. Lu points out that Shu Yu is currently too weak, even as a probationary member, but then she surprises him by whipping out her phone and transferring 10 million bucks to his account as starting funds. This is his signing bonus, intended to help him become a professional tamer and support his archaeology studies. Hearing the amount, Shu Yu's annoyance instantly vanishes. His opportunistic nature shines through as he begins to glow with excitement. He reassures Dr. Lu that he will accomplish whatever she asks of him and, of course, eagerly asks when the 10 million bucks will arrive. Shu Yu feels deeply thankful, knowing that this money will change his life. To him, it is worth more than having legendary tamer bodyguards. Realizing he no longer has to rely on the green cotton worm to generate income, he mentally frees the worm from its role. Despite their long partnership, he feels ready to let the worm go. Lu sits atop her wind lion and informs Shu Yu that the documents and money will be delivered the next day. She advises him to keep his association with Department 11 a secret unless absolutely necessary, warning that revealing this could make him a target for international spies. She also reassures him that only members of Department 11 know about his involvement in the appearance of the ancient ruin. Lastly, she explains that until his probationary period ends, she will be his only contact within the organization. Shu Yu reflects on this situation, realizing that this is indeed a honey trap. What started as no duties has now turned into a secretive position with potential risks. However, Shu Yu understands the danger of having a rare talent like his. Being one of only 11 people with his ability in the entire nation makes him a likely target, especially given his current low level. Lu assigns Xu Yu his first mission as a probationary member to investigate Glacier City's true history. She explains that there is no time limit for the task, but emphasizes its importance, as she believes that information from the unexplored dimension will help her decipher the Ice Dragon ruins. Lu is confident that Xu Yu, being born and raised in Pingcheng, will be able to hear traces of history related to the ruins. She assumes that, despite his hesitations, Xu Yu wants to uncover the truth just as much as she does. The mission seems perfectly tailored for him, and although it's a big challenge for an intern tamer, the 10 million bucks certainly sweetens the deal. Xu Yu, now enthusiastic, asks if he can enter the unexplored dimension. Lu encourages him to do so, reassuring him that he can go without needing to reveal his affiliation with Department 11. Before leaving, Lu offers Xu Yu a gift, saying that she knows he doesn't need money for now. Resting her elbow on her wind lion, she lays out his options. The choices include a skill tome for Iron Eaters, a unique evolution method for green cotton worms, or a young high-ranking pet beast. Lu assumes that 11 is Xu Yu's first pet beast. Upon hearing his name mentioned, the green cotton worm, perched atop 11's head, tugs at the Iron Eater's fur. Lu observes this interaction and correctly guesses that the worm is a beast Xu Yu has been caring for without a formal contract. She notices that the worm has been raised well, with a high-level skill like silk, and concludes there would be no problems evolving it. She imagines Xu Yu is either keeping the worm for fun or waiting for it to evolve before forming a contract. Since they met, Lu has been remarkably accurate in reading Xu Yu. Xu Yu drools over the choices presented to him. He glances at 11 and reflects on how hard it is to accept something without earning it. Perhaps this reminds him of how 11 dislikes being handed skills without working for them. However, Xu Yu isn't about to turn down this opportunity. He'll take the gifts just like he took the 10 million bucks. Weighing his options, he considers the advantages. A skill tome would grant 11 an additional skill slot, which could be useful even though he's currently satisfied with 11's skills. The worm evolution method tempts him because he has invested so much time and effort into raising the worm, and evolving it into a powerful beast would make all that work worthwhile. The high-ranking pet beast option is equally appealing, as it would allow Xu Yu to utilize his skill handbook to study and strengthen it. Xu Yu surprises no one by asking if he has to pick just one. Lu staring at him blankly, clearly not expecting such audacity. Xu Yu argues that he needs all the resources as soon as possible to contribute effectively to archaeology. With a sigh, Lu reluctantly agrees, telling him that he can have all three, but only as an advance payment of his salary. Xu Yu learns that he cannot contract the high-ranking pet beast until he becomes a high-ranking tamer. As an intern tamer, he can only contract one pet beast at a time. The second beast must wait until he becomes an early-stage professional tamer. But even then, his taming dimension will not be strong enough to sustain a high-ranking beast's growth. This means that while the high-ranking beast is guaranteed, he will have to wait a while to claim it. Xu Yu, looking dejected but understanding, nods and focuses on the other gifts. Lu discusses the Iron Eater skill tome. She and the pet beasts turn their attention to this gift as Lu admits that she is not familiar with Iron Eaters. However, she mentions that the Bamboo Rock Gym in Pingcheng has 2 skills they can teach Iron Eaters. She offers to provide Xu Yu with a recommendation to learn directly from the gym leader. Xu Yu has already been planning to learn from the Grandmaster Tamer at Bamboo Rock Gym, as he believes that learning skills naturally instead of copying them is more reasonable. He agrees to go without protest. Picking up the green cotton worm, he hears Lu directly ask if he plans to raise it into a wind crystal butterfly before contracting it. Xu Yu shuts down the suggestion and explains that the green cotton worm is one of the beasts with the most potential. The worm, hearing this, imagines itself as a boss worm, feeling important for the first time. It turns out that green cotton worms have the highest number of evolutionary pathways among all beasts. Through metamorphosis, they can evolve into dozens of species of moths and butterflies. Evolution researchers often start their careers by studying the evolution paths of green cotton worms. These worms develop quickly, and their evolution is highly unpredictable, resembling a gamble. Researchers are kept on their toes by the unexpected outcomes, but Xu Yu seems confident that he has the best luck and will achieve the best possible evolution for his worm. Lu stands straight beside her sleepy wind lion and starts explaining the 3 chief-rank evolutionary pathways for green cotton worms. She emphasizes that the worm will likely surpass the Iron Eater in potential, making it a perfect second beast for Xu Yu. This excites her further, as 11's competitive nature will ensure both pets continue to grow stronger together. Xu Yu asks her to elaborate on the chief rank evolutions. Lu explains that the chief ranks are classified into low, middle, and high grades, with higher ranks being significantly harder to achieve. The low-grade chief rank evolution is the swallowtail butterfly, a wind and ice-type beast with the skill Blizzard. Its wings resemble beautifully crafted stained glass windows. The middle-grade chief rank evolution is the Ghost Beauty Fly, a dark-type beast skilled in curses, sneak attacks, and assassinations. Its black and violet wings have menacing cat-eye-like markings. Finally, the high-grade chief rank evolution is the Morpho Helena Butterfly, a light-type beast skilled in using light rays and illusions. It resembles a battle angel descending from the heavens. While each chief rank evolution is unique, Lou remarks that all of them are elegant in their own way. She explains that evolving green cotton worms is not simple. Specific materials and food are required to guide the worm into the desired evolutionary pathway. Additionally, the skill Silk must be at a proficient level, though achieving a perfect level would draw out the beast's full potential. Lou admits that it is difficult to reach perfect mastery of Silk and reassures Shuyu that proficient mastery is sufficient. Shuyu is reminded of the worm's short lifespan, which adds urgency to his efforts. The green cotton worm looks lost in all this information, but Shuyu absorbs it with determination and begins planning. Shuyu reflects on all the evolution forms mentioned and considers them viable choices. He goes into analysis mode, mapping out the materials needed and focusing on mastering Silk to at least a proficient level. Initially, he assumed that perfect mastery would be the minimum requirement for evolution, but now he wonders if flawless mastery might unlock 200% of the worm's potential. Curious, he asks Doctor if it is possible to achieve flawless mastery of Silk. Lou explains that it is possible, but it would require raising the worm in an unexplored or ruined dimension compatible with green cotton worms. Alternatively, he could wait until he becomes a legendary Tamare to raise the worm, though she acknowledges this is not feasible at his current level. Lou's willingness to answer his endless questions, and the crash course on green cotton worm evolution continues. Lou reminds him that there are 2 viable methods for evolution, and even offers assistance in creating an ice phoenix moth evolution. Shuyu assures her that his questions are born from curiosity, though his ambition is evident. Lou warns him not to be greedy. She points out that while flawless mastery of Silk would enhance the evolutionary potential, it would also increase the difficulty of the evolution process. A higher difficulty means a greater risk of the worm failing to emerge from its cocoon. Lou adds that the success of the evolution also depends on the materials used. Providing the right materials during the cocoon phase could teach the worm a new skill that helps it break out. However, even with the best evolution planner, there are no guarantees. Shuyu absorbs this information, reviewing it in his mind. Higher Silk mastery leads to a stronger cocoon, which increases the difficulty of breaking out. But if the worm succeeds, its evolution potential will be significantly higher. The process is both simple and incredibly complex. He recognizes that the materials he uses will be critical, as failing to learn a skill during evolution would result in failure. Using the advantages of the skills handbook, Shuyu devises a plan to teach the worm a skill before it enters the cocoon phase. If the worm gains a skill that ensures it can break out of the cocoon, its success will be guaranteed. He also resolves to push Silk to the highest level possible. Shuyu, once again, begins thinking outside the box, feeling thrilled at the prospect of breaking tradition and using unconventional evolution methods. He wonders if he will be able to create the strongest green cotton worm evolution. Proudly lifting the worm above his head, Shuyu declares that he chooses the evolutionary pathway of the Morpho Helena Butterfly. Although he knows the worm might not evolve into the rarest form, he plans to use the materials for this pathway as a reference. Lou is unsurprised by his choice, and reminds him of the difficulty and preparation required to achieve it. Lou reminds Shuyu again that if the evolution fails, the materials will be wasted, and the worm will be trapped in its cocoon. Shuyu acknowledges this information and listens carefully as Dr. Lou lends him her phone to read the evolution guide. He already knows that the Silk skill must be at a proficient level or higher, but now he learns about the materials needed for the evolution. These include juvenile heart of light, ripe sunflower petals, fluorescent core, shining fungi, sunlight rock powder, and mature shiny grass. Feeding these materials to the worm will allow it to form a cocoon, and after 30 days, it should learn the skill Rainbow Ray and successfully emerge. Shuyu writes all of this down in his notebook while the green cotton worm peers over his shoulder. As Shuyu reviews the process, he feels overwhelmed by how intricate the steps are. He reads that the shiny grass must be soaked in a solution made of sunlight rock powder and spring water in a 9:1 ratio for 1 hour before feeding. At level 10, all the materials must be fed to the worm in 1 day, and the cocoon will form soon after. It will take 30 days for the worm to emerge with its new form and skill. The discussion about green cotton worms feels never-ending, and Shuyu begins to consider the cost of the materials. The items are rare and expensive, at least level 3 resources, and far pricier than the level 1 iron bamboo he's been buying for 11. Good thing he has 10 million bucks coming his way, he thinks. However, Shuyu closes his eyes and reminds himself that this guide will only be his last resort. He still plans to forge his own evolution path to a high-grade chief beast first. Shuyu returns the phone to Dr. Lu, who waves goodbye as she heads to the door with her wind lion. Before leaving, she praises how well Shuyu has raised his iron eater and green cotton worm. While still waving goodbye, Shuyu already begins to doubt his decision to join Department 11. He remembers his desire to avoid anything resembling his Earth job, but he can't deny his growing interest in the unexplored dimension. His conflicting thoughts don't last long, as the promise of tomorrow's money excites him again. Shuyu decides to spend big today, maybe even buy a phone. The new recruit of Department 11 heads to the Sentry building, making his way straight to the electronics department. A black-haired clerk assists him as he describes his ideal phone, one that can connect to the internet, detect energy levels, and include a pet beast almanac. Without missing a beat, the clerk introduces Shuyu to the Atlantic M30, the Sentry Group's latest model. It features 6,029 entries of beasts and skills, as well as microwave detection for beasts below the transcendent level. The price tag is $99,999, but the clerk generously offers an additional $1,000 worth of talk time. Shuyu holds the sleek phone in his hand and asks if he can test it out. The clerk agrees, and Shuyu immediately points the phone at a pet beast nearby. The phone announces that the beast is a mechanical dog, displaying all its details. It is identified as a middle-stage transcendent creature at level 10, classified as an artificial life form designed for protection, tracking, and investigative services. It also has the high-level skill Self-Destruct, which allows it to release all its energy in a devastating explosion, though it dies afterward. Shuyu marvels at how useful the phone will be for his skills handbook. The mechanical dog's high-level skill is so enticing that Shuyu has to resist the urge to touch it. He briefly wonders if he could copy the skill after the dog uses self-destruct. But logic kicks in, and he reminds himself that he doesn't actually need it. Refocusing on the phone, Shuyu is impressed by its energy detection feature, which shows the growth level of the mechanical dog and reveals that it is only one step away from becoming a full transcendent creature. Shuyu also appreciates the almanac function, realizing how convenient it will be to have detailed information about beasts at his fingertips. Although he is knowledgeable, most of his studies have focused on transcendent creatures, and he doesn't consider himself an expert. This phone will fill in the gaps and help him become an outstanding tamer. Feeling relieved to have such a valuable tool, Shuyu grips the phone tightly. He wants to buy it immediately, but the price would drain all his current savings. Logically, he knows he should wait until tomorrow when the 10 million bucks are deposited into his account. If the money doesn't arrive, he'll be left with nothing, and may even end up eating dirt. Shuyu raises his hand, holding the phone, and makes a firm decision. He will buy it now and put his trust in Dr. Smiling at the shopkeeper confirms that he will take the phone. The shopkeeper excitedly assures Shuyu made an excellent choice. Shuyu walks around the shopping center after purchasing the mobile phone. Stopping in front of the Talent Group Pet Beast Supplies store, he thinks about Eleven's diet. While the Iron Eater loves iron bamboo, Shuyu believes it's time to give him something better. Entering the store, he starts browsing the products and uses his new phone to research potential purchases. A wooden material containing metal ores catches his eye. It's called metal core wood. It's a spiritual plant that serves as a food source for iron eaters, improving vitality and enhancing the skill harden. Metal core wood is more nourishing than iron bamboo, but it can cause overnourishment in lower-ranked iron eaters. Shuyu, however, is not worried about this for 11, whose training volume far surpasses that of ordinary iron eaters. As for the green cotton worm, Shuyu decides its diet is fine as is. He also spots a better supplement for himself in the form of strange-looking capsules, but decides to stick to bulk pills for now, keeping the capsules in mind for a future purchase. It's been a long day for Shuyu, but the day isn't over yet. Once home, he sits on his bed and begins exploring his new phone. The first thing he does is register on the Tamers Association's online portal so he doesn't have to visit the building in person. Almost immediately after registering, he receives a notification about a wilderness combat exam, which grants authorization to enter the Pincheng District ruin. The notification shocks him. It says that anything found inside the ruin will belong to the participants. This gets Shuyu to leap off his bed, his opportunistic mind immediately thinking of the treasures. However, his cautious side kicks in as he begins to think about the monsters lurking within. He recalls Dr. Lu hinting that he could enter ruins without using his Department 11 credentials. He wonders if the participants are being used as bait and feels sure there must be a catch. With a doubtful expression, he decides to find someone with prior experience to learn what to expect. A loud growl breaks his train of thought. Shuyu notices that 11 and the green cotton worm are so hungry their tummies are growling loudly. The two beasts start screaming for food, and their tamer jumps into action, promising them a feast. While cooking, Shuyu reflects on how slow time feels when meditating and how fast it flies when using a phone. Many people would relate to that thought. His imagination runs wild as he pictures phones evolving into mechanical life forms with the ability to control time. Dinner is finally ready, and the two beasts, who waited patiently by his side as he cooked, eagerly gather at the table. 11 gets his first taste of the metalcore wood and eats it enthusiastically. As they eat to their heart's content, Shuyu encourages 11 to prepare for wilderness combat training. 11 confidently gives a thumbs up, his expression saying that his tamer doesn't even need to ask. With discovered powers and unlimited resources now at his disposal, Shuyu wonders what incredible things lie ahead. Meanwhile, 11 battles with himself daily to grow stronger. Shuyu thinks back to previous battles with the ice armadillo and earth rats, feeling that neither pushed 11's potential to its limit. The recent visit from the Wind Lion brought new pressure for 11, who has unlocked a new goal for himself. The Iron Eater is impressively self-aware, knowing he hasn't yet reached the level of chief-rank beasts. Beasts at that level can exert immense pressure that overwhelms lower-ranked beasts like 11, sometimes even knocking them out without a fight. Despite this, 11's interaction with the Wind Lion went well, and Shuyu considers asking the lion for tips and tricks to grow stronger. Sovereign-ranked beasts possess the skill Intimidate, which reminds Shuyu of the Snow Wolf King. Knowing that he already has a copy of Intimidate excites Shuyu, who looks forward to 11 mastering it. Learning sovereign-ranked abilities would further 11's kingly qualities. Shuyu believes their upcoming journey to the unexplored dimension will be a significant test of their abilities. This time, it won't just be him and 11. The green cotton worm will be joining them. The worm looks startled when Shuyu asks it to come along, as it has never left the house before. Tamers will be scored during wilderness training based on the rarity of defeated beasts and resources found. Shuyu comes up with the bright idea of having the worm shoot silk webs everywhere to collect resources while 11 handles combat. The worm seems utterly shocked by this plan. Lu visits Shuyu at his residence. True to her word, she hands him his ID, money, and the promised recommendation letter for Department 11. The ID allows Shuyu to explore most ruins, including the Pincheng ruins. Shuyu eagerly accepts the items, already planning how to use them to his advantage. Lu mentions that another notable location he can now access is the Ice Dragon ruins, but she warns him to first get promoted to a professional tamer. She sternly tells him that the ruins are too dangerous at his current level, and that he would freeze to death if he attempted to explore them now. Shuyu, unfazed, asks if he would be assigned bodyguards if he decided to go. Lu confirms that bodyguards can be requested for exploring the Ice Dragon ruins, but not for the unexplored dimension. Shuyu then shifts the conversation, asking more about the unexplored dimension. Despite his apparent disregard for the dangers of the Ice Dragon ruins, Shuyu quietly apologizes to the stone statue for having second thoughts about pushing forward with the mission. Lu asks if Shuyu is aware that unexplored dimensions are former taming dimensions. Shuyu nods to confirm that he knows. The current situation at the Pincheng ruins reveals that the dimension is unstable. Experiments have shown that only intern tamers can enter it without any issues, as high-ranking taming dimensions are repelled by the unexplored dimension. This dimension is a challenge-type ruin modified by the tamer who previously owned it, seemingly designed to train the next generation of tamers. Once inside, tamers will be transported to different environments, exploring the dimension solo no matter how many participants are sent in. This should be good news for Shuyu, who prefers working alone. Tamers will face clones of elemental beings and can only progress to the next environment by defeating them. The ruins are structured like a challenge with multiple stages, each featuring a boss at the end. Lu stares seriously at Shuyu as she explains that Pincheng's intern tamers have struggled to rise to the challenge. If no one in the district can make progress, the opportunity to explore the ruins will be given to tamers from other districts, which would mean a significant loss for Pincheng. Dr. Lu expresses her concern about the danger within the ruins. While the elemental beings reportedly defeat challengers without slaying them, this isn't guaranteed if the tamer is too weak. Shuyu grows uneasy hearing this, as the worst-case scenario is not just dangerous but potentially deadly. Lu gives him a website link and an invitation QR code for discounts and rewards on breeding materials, hoping to motivate him to make use of the resources available to him. She reiterates that these resources will help him quickly become a professional tamer. Lu advises Shuyu to forget about the Ice Dragon ruins for now, and focus entirely on the unexplored dimension, but it seems like she is the one who keeps bringing it up. Department 11's newest recruit starts to feel like the task is too dangerous for him to take on, conveniently forgetting that it is part of the test to become an official member of the organization. His main task in the ruins is to uncover Glacier City's true history. Lu reassures him that he doesn't need to clear the entire ruins to achieve this. Using his hearing ability, he can gather clues from the individual environments. She reminds him that he is the one who triggered the ruins to appear, which means he is strong enough to handle the task. Lu instructs Shuyu to go to the Bamboo Rock Gym so that 11 can learn 2 new skills, brushing aside his clear worries. Although Shu Yu acknowledges all the resources provided to help him grow stronger, his cautious nature prevails. He decides that the safest route forward is to take the wilderness combat test organized by the Tamers Association first. Proving that he is strong enough to pass the test will boost his confidence in surviving the unexplored dimension. Lu leaves. Shu Yu firmly resolves that staying alive is his #1 priority. While holding his probationary ID, he reminds himself that he doesn't actually need it to enter the ruins, but holds his money even tighter, considering that more important. Despite his second thoughts about entering the ruins, his excitement for the adventure and the treasures he might find eventually outweighs his doubts. Or maybe he's just thinking about the money. Lu departs, leaving Shu Yu with the knowledge that as a member of Department 11, he now has access to a powerful organization with significant influence over Eastern Glory ruins. This brings into focus the importance of archaeology on the Blue Planet. Ruins contain secrets about the world, often connected to totem-ranked and legendary beasts, making them invaluable to understanding the planet's history and power structures. Shu Yu feels smug about his position, knowing that this organization will allow him to unlock legendary ranked secrets and even hire legendary tamers as bodyguards in the future. Shu Yu, brimming with happiness, carefully tucks his ID into his pocket for safekeeping. Just as he starts thinking about the challenges ahead, the worm notices a swirling green light forming around 11. Shu Yu sees it too and realizes that his Iron Eater has leveled up. Reaching out to pat his pet beast on the head, he notices that 11 is now 1 meter tall. 11, surprised by his own growth, only notices it when his tamer points it out. Shu Yu marvels at how fast 11 is growing and assumes it is natural for a beast of his potential. To celebrate, Shu Yu brings 11 a dish of metal core wood, which the Iron Eater happily munches on. The green cotton worm watches 11 eat, looking equally pleased. Shu Yu takes out his phone to check their stats and sees that 11 is now level 6 while the worm is level 4. Proud of their progress, Shu Yu knows that his beasts are far from ordinary thanks to the skill handbook advantage, which ensures their skills are far superior to others at the same level. Smiling, Shu Yu starts imagining the score he might achieve in the upcoming wilderness practical test. Arriving at the Tamers Association to register for the test, Shu Yu is surprised by the large crowd at the venue. The sheer number of people gets him thinking. He knows that only tamers with potential will qualify to train in the ruins, and this test will also serve as a measure of who is ready to take the professional tamer exam. As he waits, he overhears participants discussing the unexplored dimension, speculating that it might be the reason so many have gathered for the test. Shu Yu, despite his concerns, is resolute in his decision to move forward. With 11 and the green cotton worm by his side, he feels more prepared to face the challenges ahead. A black-haired woman greets the crowd waiting at the venue and announces the test details. She instructs participants to head to Tiangmeng Mountain from July 28 to 30, which is 3 days away. She explains that the meeting place will be the training grounds, and everyone must arrive before 9 a.m. Anyone arriving late will have their participation cancelled and their registration fee refunded. She then directs everyone to proceed to the lobby to confirm other details. Shu Yu thanks the woman and follows the instructions. At the lobby, Shu Yu pays the 10,000 buck registration fee without hesitation. For someone who just received 10 million bucks, the cost is insignificant. The Budget King has no complaints, knowing that the experience of preparing for the professional tamer exam will be worth every penny. 3 days later, Shu Yu arrives at Tianmeng Mountain without any issues. A crowd has already gathered, many of whom likely took the warning about arriving on time seriously. Suddenly, someone calls Shu Yu's name from behind. Turning around, he sees a familiar uniform and glasses, a familiar-looking old man hurrying toward him. Shu Yu shouts in surprise, jokingly wondering if impure spirits are harassing him before the test. The man, looking slightly out of breath, introduces himself again. It's Chen Kai. Shu Yu immediately notices how tired and lifeless Chen Kai looks, worrying that the student has consumed too many supplements. However, Chen Kai dismisses his concern and proudly explains that his efforts have pushed his ice armadillo to level 7. The top student beams with pride, looking up to Shu Yu and clearly taking all of his advice to heart. Despite Chen Kai's enthusiasm, Shu Yu can't help but feel concerned. He wonders if coming to the exam is the right move for Chen Kai, especially considering how 11 defeated the ice armadillo last time. Hoping for reassurance, Shu Yu asks if Chen Kai came alone and is relieved to hear that he did. Chen Kai, seemingly reminded of their last meeting, excitedly asks if Shu Yu heard about the statue explosion incident. Shu Yu feels a twinge of pride, knowing he caused the event, but keeps the truth to himself. Memories of his panicked reaction during the incident bring a small smile to his face. Quickly changing the topic, Shu Yu advises Chen Kai not to push himself too hard. However, Chen Kai responds with unwavering passion, determined to push his and his ice armadillo's potential to new heights. Chen Kai looks confident as he explains that he hopes to show strong results in this test. With so many participants, the group will be divided into locations of 100 participants each, and only the top 20 from each group will qualify. Chen Kai admits that he's unsure whether he'll qualify to explore the ruins, but Xu Yu reassures him that the odds aren't bad, 1 in 5, for a dedicated student with a level 7 ice armadillo. Even so, Chen Kai is still haunted by his loss to 11. Although the defeat is a painful memory, it motivates him. Knowing that Xu Yu's Iron Eater surpassed its growth level gives him hope that his ice armadillo can achieve the same. The two walk toward the training grounds, sharing stories about their experiences. Chen Kai talks about a smaller-scale event held at his school, which he compares to this exam, saying it doesn't come close. Xu Yu listens with a smile and mentions that this is his first time participating in such an event. Chen Kai remembers that Xu Yu majored in breeding and wouldn't have had similar opportunities, which Xu Yu acknowledges. As they walk, Xu Yu takes a moment to look around. He realizes that this is his first time visiting a truly dangerous place since his transmigration. While he has always chosen the safe and logical route with careful planning, this change of pace excites him. He recalls their teammates from their last mission and asks Chen Kai if they are taking the exam as well. Unfortunately, Yu Jingjing's parents didn't allow her to participate, and Yue's Iron Eater wasn't ready yet. Suddenly, a classmate calls out to Chen Kai from somewhere in the crowd. Chen Kai waves goodbye to Xu Yu and runs toward them, leaving Xu Yu on his own. Left alone, Xu Yu starts observing his surroundings. He notices several men in line wearing camouflage and helmets, each accompanied by standard-issue beast dogs. He wonders if these men are from a security company or part of the Tamer army. They all look the same, and Xu Yu briefly contemplates how his life might have turned out if he had joined the Tamer army. He imagines the trade-offs: no personal freedom but guaranteed training and job assignments. While he is confident that he could have risen through the ranks, he knows he wouldn't have enjoyed the strict discipline. Besides, if he had taken that path, the unexplored dimension wouldn't have opened, and this adventure wouldn't have been possible. It all worked out for the best. A man in camouflage suddenly blows a green whistle, drawing everyone's attention. Xu Yu briefly wonders if the man is about to perform a special move like Rolling Thunder, but instead, the man commands everyone to quiet down, fall in line, and sign the safety responsibility sheet. The man introduces himself as Zhou Wanshan, and he has arrived with 4 professional tamers and a team of security guards. Zhou Wanshan explains that participants will receive a booklet after signing the sheet. Zhou Wanshan informs the interns that the hunting handbook contains the scores and details of beasts and rare resources that participants can hunt and collect in Tiangmang Mountain. The scores will determine their ranking. Luckily, Xu Yu has already planned for this scenario and has a strategy in mind. Zhou Wanshan also explains that each participant will be given a mobile geoposition communicator for safety purposes. This device can be used to call for help, and there are safety points stationed around the mountain, manned by security guards in dark blue uniforms. Participants can use these safety points to either call for help and withdraw from the exam or verify their loot and record their scores. With an air of arrogance, Zhou Wanshan announces that the goal is to score as many points as possible within 3 days. It sounds simple enough, but everyone knows the challenge will be anything but easy. He confirms that only the top 20 tamers with the highest scores will qualify to enter the ruins. The professional tamers overseeing the test take one look at the young crowd and begin questioning their survival skills. One of them, a pro with long eyelashes, even feels competitive, wishing he could participate himself since high-ranking tamers are not allowed to enter the unexplored dimension. Zhou Wanshan quickly silences his underlings, reminding them of their job, to keep watch and minimize casualties. He advises them to relax and enjoy the show. Every show has a protagonist, and Xu Yu takes center stage as he does what he does best, carefully planning the most efficient course of action. Browsing through the hunting handbook, Xu Yu notices that earth rats are worth only 20 points. Dismissing them as not worth the effort, he moves on to higher-scoring beasts. His eyes land on the 4,000-point Berserker Python, a water-type level 10 middle transcendent beast with skills like Berserk and Violent Whip. The handbook notes that only 2 of these snakes exist, located in Green Lake and Shang Lake, and they are totally not recommended for participants to hunt. Xu Yu assumes beasts like the Berserker Python are meant for confident and strong tamers. Still, he can't help but analyze the skill Berserk, which grants a beast increased strength and speed in exchange for losing all sense of reason. If mastered to a perfect level, the consequences of the skill are nullified, but that process takes time. Xu Yu laughs at the thought of a Berserk Iron Eater, imagining 11 smashing into walls and cracking floors uncontrollably. Shaking his head, he stops picturing the chaos and continues reading. His attention is soon caught by a level 10 electric slime, a middle transcendent beast with the skills Amplify and Electric Shock. Despite its harmless-looking appearance as a round ball of electricity, it's listed as not recommended for hunting. Only 3 exist in the magnetic zone, and Shiryu is intrigued to see a slime beast on the list. Knowing that slimes aren't native to Eastern Glory, he realizes that this is a rare opportunity to encounter one. The skill Amplify especially piques his interest. This ability allows a beast to shift its size at will, providing tactical advantages. Shrinking conserves stamina and speeds up recovery, while megamorphing increases a beast's size and strength at the cost of speed. Shiryu imagines 11 using Amplify, and the possibilities excite him. Closing the handbook, he decides that he must acquire this skill. Slime beasts are rare, and this may be his only chance to encounter one. Shiryu's planning phase is interrupted when Zhou Wanshan reminds the participants that they have 30 minutes to purchase food and medicine at a nearby store. Once the test begins, participants will not be allowed to leave the mountain for 3 days unless absolutely necessary. Shiryu briefly jokes to himself about whether they sell survival instincts or extra lives as well. After receiving his mobile geoposition communicator, Shiryu heads to the store, initially wanting to buy a storage item. However, he ends up purchasing non-conductive gloves instead, reasoning that they might help him deal with the electric slime. Shiryu wishes he could bring more survival gear, but reminds himself that the real treasure, like the spatial item from the Pincheng ruins that can even store living creatures, will have to wait. As he considers his options, Chen Kai calls out to him. Shiryu, slightly annoyed at being interrupted, listens to Chen Kai, who looks pumped up and asks him to join a party to hunt the Berser python. Chen Kai explains that his classmates have devised a solid plan to restrict the snake's movement using the ice armadillo, combined with an electric-type beast to electrocute the fiendish in the lakes. Shiryu is surprised to learn that participants can form parties, but he immediately grows skeptical about how the spoils would be distributed among the group. He has no idea how many of Chen Kai's classmates are participating and feels the plan might not be worth the risk. Chen Kai's group believes there are enough rare resources around the python's lakes to score points for everyone, but Shiryu politely declines, explaining that he already has a plan. Waving goodbye to the disappointed Chen Kai, Shiryu reflects on his preference for working alone, feeling that doing everything himself will be more efficient. Chen Kai, on the other hand, is plainly disappointed, as he had hoped to observe his idol more closely. The clock strikes 10 watts a.m., and the participants are instructed to move out and enter the mountain from any of its entrances. Mechanical birds are deployed to track, monitor, and investigate the participants throughout the test. Inside the control room, Zhou Wanshan asks the professional tamers to focus their monitoring efforts on areas with 4,000-point beasts, as casualties are more likely to occur there. The tamers acknowledge the command and focus on their screens. Shiryu summons 11, who immediately starts looking for an opponent. Meanwhile, it seems the green cotton worm has been hiding in Shiryu's backpack this entire time, but suddenly appears on his shoulder. The team is fully assembled, and they begin making their way toward their target. 11 energetically jumps around, while Shiryu instructs him to keep an eye out for any threats. Shiryu plans to head toward the magnetic zone by passing through boar forest, intending to hunt some spike boars first. Spike boars are exactly what their name suggests, beasts with spiked bodies that are powerful and difficult to defeat. Based on this, Shiryu determines they are worth valuable points. While hiding in the bushes, the team spots a spike boar nearby. Shiryu decides that this situation is perfect for warming up. The tamer takes out his phone to look up information on the spike boar, but the loud click attracts the beast's attention. The spike boar immediately roars, loudly announcing its awareness of the team's presence. A surprise attack is no longer an option. The phone reveals that the spike boar is an Earth-type middle transcendent beast. Its primary move is Tackle, and it possesses the skill Petrifying Fangs, which can stun its opponent. The green cotton worm is visibly terrified, but 11 looks more excited than ever, prepared for battle. The spike boar locks its eyes on the group and roars again before charging toward them with all its might. Shiryu and the team see the incoming danger, and 11 steps forward to stand protectively in front of his tamer, ready for battle. Shiryu instructs 11 to be cautious of the tusks, reminding him that Petrifying Fangs could stun him. He points to the rapidly approaching boar and commands 11 to act. Surprisingly, 11 does not immediately attack. While raring to go, the Iron Eater stays calm and composed, a rare sight for such an energetic beast. A light envelops 11's body as he prepares to receive the charge. Shiryu and the worm take cover behind a tree to watch. 11 closes his eyes, concentrating deeply on the fight ahead. As the spike boar approaches with unrelenting speed, 11 activates his super sight skill. His eyes glow brightly, and the skill allows him to predict the trajectory of the incoming attack. At the last possible moment, 11 jumps into the air, easily evading the boar's tackle. The tusks pass harmlessly beneath him. In mid-air, 11 concentrates his energy, channeling his full strength into his fist. Using his weight to add momentum, he delivers a powerful downward punch to the spike boar's back. The boar screams in pain as the attack sends it crashing through the trees. 11 lands gracefully on his feet and waits for further instructions. Shuyu commands him to finish the fight without giving the boar a chance to recover. The spike boar, shaking and struggling to stand, now radiates fear instead of aggression. 11 wastes no time, charging forward like a missile. He strikes with enough force to break the boar's tusks and render it unconscious. The team secures an easy 350 points using the Super Sight plus Harden combo, a strategy that proves to be highly effective. The battle ends so quickly that it could almost be described as uneventful, though it demonstrates 11's growing strength. As the spike boar lies helpless, the green cotton worm starts to entangle it with silk while 11 celebrates his victory. Shuyu imagines that Chen Kai could also defeat a spike boar, though it would likely be more challenging for him. Despite his decision to decline Chen Kai's party invitation, Shuyu still feels a sense of camaraderie as he thinks about his fellow Tamer. Shuyu instructs 11 to drag the defeated spike boar as part of his strength training. Handing the silk thread leash to the Iron Eater, Shuyu explains that the task will help build endurance. 11 seems thrilled to have this new training equipment and happily takes on the responsibility. Meanwhile, in the monitoring center, the observers notice that someone has already scored the first points of the event. They are surprised to see an intern tamer defeating a spike boar solo with a cub Iron Eater barely at level 7. On monitor number 0093, the team observes Shuyu and his beasts walking through boar forest while dragging the defeated spike boar. Though impressed by the feat, the observers are also concerned, as boar forest is a dangerous area. They hope the tamer takes precautions, such as climbing a tree for safety. Shuyu, perhaps unintentionally meeting their expectations, climbs a tree to get a better vantage point. From above, his team spots 4 spike boars together. Shuyu immediately begins calculating the odds, wondering if 11 can handle all 4 at once. 11 notices his tamer's hesitation and looks at him expectantly, as though asking for the command to attack. The tamer considers the challenge carefully. A 1-on-4 fight would certainly be more difficult, but Shuyu knows 11 thrives on challenges. Sensing his pet beast's eagerness for battle, Shuyu asks 11 if he is confident. He points at the group of boars and encourages 11 to fight them entirely using Harden, assuring him that his skill proficiency is high enough to win. 11 becomes visibly excited, determined to prove himself. Shuyu has seen firsthand how hard 11 trains, often having to convince him to rest. 4 spike boars seem like a manageable challenge for the Iron Eater. Shuyu gives the green light, letting 11 know that he and the green cotton worm will cheer him on from a safe distance. The Iron Eater boldly walks toward the group of spike boars, who immediately take notice of his approach. The monitoring team in the control room reacts with disbelief, shouting about the tamer on screen. The scene on monitor 0093 quickly draws attention as more observers gather to watch. The audacity of allowing a cub Iron Eater to face 4 spike boars alone shocks everyone. The monitoring team stares at the screen, acknowledging that even a level 10 beast would find it difficult to face such a challenge. If Shuyu believes that 11 can handle it, there seems to be no reason to doubt him. This cautious yet daring mindset is something Shuyu is known for, and one cannot help but wish for this challenge to truly test 11's strength, as such trials are exactly what the strongest characters thrive on. The 4 spike boars stare at the small Iron Eater confidently walking toward them without a hint of worry. They seem confused, wondering where this little guy came from. Their confusion grows as they misinterpret 11's approach as an act of submission, assuming that he is delivering more food to them. These spike boars clearly have no idea who they are dealing with. 11 immediately takes control of the situation, taunting them by jumping around, making funny faces, and crouching to flash his behind at them. The spike boars' confusion quickly transforms into rage as they roar in unison, their annoyance reaching its peak. Even the monitoring team cannot believe how easily the Iron Eater has provoked his opponents. Fueled by anger, all 4 boars charge toward 11 at full speed, their bodies trembling with fury. Against their massive forms, 11 looks so small and vulnerable as they close in. But the Iron Eater stands firm, channeling his proficient-level hardened skill. He lets out a grunt as his entire body becomes covered in armor. The same technique was once used to block an ice armadillo's attack without leaving a scratch. The first spike boar rushes at 11 with reckless abandon, but 11 leaps into the air and delivers a powerful kick, sending the beast flying into the distance. These boars may not be birds, but 11 makes them look like they can fly. Another spike boar takes advantage of the opportunity and tackles 11 with its tusks. The sharp tusks make contact with 11's armored body but fail to phase him. 11 holds his ground without flinching. In response, the Iron Eater counters with a punch to the boar's face, followed by a full-body tackle that sends it crashing to the ground. Now, 11 stands between 2 unconscious spike boars, his menacing aura radiating toward the remaining 2. The last 2 spike boars freeze in place, staring at 11 with a mix of confusion and fear. The tiny Iron Eater no longer seems so small. Overwhelmed by 11's dominance, the 2 remaining spike boars turn tail and begin to flee, hurriedly glancing back to ensure they are not being pursued. 11 growls and chases after them, his confidence unshaken. The people monitoring camera 093 are stunned by the outcome. Initially worried for 11, they are now calling him the Boar Slayer. The audience starts discussing the proficiency of 11's hardened skill, which is clearly at an advanced level. Curiosity about the tamer behind this impressive display leads them to review the records, where they discover that the intern tamer is named Shuyu. The observers are captivated, remarking that once someone starts watching Shuyu, it is difficult to stop. Chen Kai could certainly relate to this sentiment. One of the security guards, who was an intern at Bamboo Rock Gym, asks his colleague if they know Shuyu, but the question is left unanswered when they notice the green cotton worm sitting on Shuyu's shoulder. Shuyu's team has already captured the 4 spike boars, with the worm diligently securing the loot. The guards are surprised by the speed at which the team operates. They discuss how intern tamers are usually allowed only one contracted beast, leading them to assume that Shuyu has no contract with the worm. Their amazement grows as they notice that the worm is at a high level, speculating that it may evolve into a wind crystal butterfly. The monitoring team even starts betting on Shuyu's ranking, with one guard wagering a cigarette that he will place in the top 3. Others jokingly say they would bet their own pet beasts on him claiming the top spot. The watch party ends abruptly when they are called to respond to a participant's injury. Meanwhile, Shuyu calculates their total score. With 5 spike boars captured, the team has earned 1,750 points. He wonders if the spike boars are edible, which causes 11's stomach to rumble audibly. Hearing about food seems to have made everyone hungry. Shuyu decides it's time for a break, sitting down and instructing his team to rest. He brings out a food tray for 11, who eagerly devours his lunch. As 11 eats, Shuyu reviews his agenda for the day. After exiting Boar Forest, a safe zone is nearby, and beyond that lies his main destination, the magnetic zone, home to the elusive electric slimes. Suddenly birds fly out of the forest in a panic, and a voice cries out for help. Shuyu is startled, knowing they are still within the Boar Forest zone. Without hesitation, Shuyu and 11 run toward the source of the cry. Moving quickly, they find 2 tamers desperately fleeing from a herd of 10 spike boars. The tamers are clearly exhausted, their pet beasts too tired to continue escaping. The 2 individuals shout warnings to Shuyu, urging him to run away and find safety. One of them begins climbing a tree in a last-ditch effort to avoid the approaching herd. Shuyu, however, ignores their warnings and stands calmly in the open, trying to assess whether 11 can handle this situation. The 2 tamers, confused by his lack of urgency, notice the Iron Eater standing beside Shuyu. Their attention is drawn to the mountain of spike boars already tied up behind him. Realization dawns on them, and they recognize that this newcomer and his pet beast are far from ordinary. Sensing the overwhelming energy radiating from 11, the herd of spike boars suddenly halts their charge. Their red, gleaming eyes, once filled with aggression, now reflect fear. Without a sound, the herd turns around and retreats, whimpering as they try to escape from the 2 demons standing before them. The tamers, still perched in the tree, are left in stunned disbelief as the once deadly herd flees. After ensuring that the spike boars have truly left, the tamers approach Shuyu, recognizing him as someone they saw at the same entrance earlier. They are shocked at how much progress he has made in such a short amount of time. While they expect Shuyu to boast about his accomplishments, he simply instructs them to head to the outskirts of the forest and search for isolated spike boars to hunt. The 2 tamers salute him with gratitude, thanking their savior before parting ways. Shuyu reflects on his observations, noting that the spike boars displayed remarkable survival instincts by fleeing. In this forest, it is clear who the true predator is. It feels as though Shuyu has left all his initial worries behind now that he is fully immersed in the challenge. He continues heading toward the safe zone, knowing that the spoils they are dragging will slow them down. As he walks closer to the gate, an announcement sounds signaling the preparations to open the gates. At a large facility in the middle of the forest, as Shuyu arrives, it is surprising that several people are already in the safe zone before him, but there were early casualties. The injured tamers being taken care of in the safe zone are shocked at his haul of 5 spiked boars. They wonder if he managed to do it alone. A tamer whose white dandelion is healing was severely injured by just 1 boar, so they want to know how powerful Shuyu must be. The delirious patient, on the other hand, does not seem aware of what is going on and starts reaching out to 11, thinking that he has healing capabilities. The white dandelion looks annoyed that its customer is not satisfied with its healing capabilities alone. The delirious man continues to reach out to 11. 11 waves at the injured people, who begin wishing that he really did have a healing skill. It does not matter if they know whether he has quick heal or not, because just looking at 11's cute face makes them feel somewhat healed. 11 flashes them a peace sign, trying to make them feel even better. Shuyu also greets them by waving his hand. He considers these tamers lucky to have a healing beast available in the safe zone and begins thinking about the high possibility of being injured during the test. This happened to these tamers in the first part of the forest, and he can't imagine what worse injuries they would sustain if they encountered a boss-level beast. The former Iron Bamboo Gym intern greets Shiyu as he pats his Iron Eater on the head. He tells Shiyu that they have been observing him for a while. It seems Shiyu has now become something of a celebrity. The intern brings a card for Shiyu's haul and offers to assist in registering his score. Shiyu is relieved by the help offered. While trying to make conversation, Shiyu asks if he can eat the goods he brought back. The guard responds by asking how he would like to cook the boars. Shiyu replies that he would like to roast them. The new celebrity is advised that while the meat is indeed tasty, ample preparation is required to make it edible. Shiyu is visibly disappointed because he does not want to rely on instant noodles throughout the exam. At that moment, a tamer named Shai is the current #1 scorer with 1,500 points, but when Shiyu registers his loot, his 1,750 points take the top spot. It is a pretty close fight. The professional tamers monitoring the event notice the new score on the board. Zhou Wanshan observes that the intern tamer has brought back 5 boars with the help of an energetic Iron Eater, but he notes that it has only been a few hours since the test started. He looks at the monitors again and instructs his subordinates to continue monitoring participants. Zhou Wanshan is clearly not easily impressed, so Shiyu will have to work harder to gain his approval. The Bamboo Rock Gym disciple working as a guard has never seen anything like 11 before, even with his experience at the gym. As he registers Shiyu's spike boars, he thinks about the transcendent rank Iron Eater he raised for 6 years, which only recently reached proficient level Harden. Tamers who raise ordinary Iron Eaters require incredible patience, but he realizes that Shiyu is on a completely different level. Deep in thought, the guard, who introduces himself as Yanqi, sits down and calls Master Lin, a legendary ranked tamer. Yanqi is also known as Little Bear. Master Lin does not seem like the most sensitive person. He immediately asks if this is the same Yanqi who failed the professional exam 2 years in a row, which led him to start working as a security guard. Yanqi cannot deny it and apologizes for bringing humiliation to the Bamboo Rock Gym. That comment feels unnecessarily harsh. Quickly trying to change the topic, Yanqi informs Master Lin that he met an interesting tamer at Tanmang Mountain who has a 2-year-old cub with proficient level Harden. Yanqi asks if Shiyu is a new disciple of the gym. Master Lin strokes his beard, deep in thought, as he processes what his former student is saying. He finds it hard to believe such a powerful Iron Eater could have come from the Iron Bamboo breeding base without being noticed. 11 was previously considered a failure there, with no one appreciating his talent for hard work. Master Lin looks concerned and asks Yanqi to repeat the name. When Yanqi says Shiyu, everything clicks for Master Lin. He remembers that Shiyu is connected to Dr. Lu, who had requested special guidance for a relative. Master Lin recalls being offered a generous gift in exchange for fulfilling this request. Master Lin looks through the records of Shiyu picking up the Iron Eater and making a contract. He is stunned to see that it has not even been a month since Shiyu contracted the beast. Lu must be behind this inexplicable situation. A month feels much longer given how much Shiyu has accomplished in such a short time. Shiyu has long, productive days. Master Lin becomes quiet while thinking, and is only brought back to reality when Yanqi calls out to him. This reminds Master Lin that Shiyu is currently taking part in the Tianmang Mountain test. Master Lin informs Yanqi that Shiyu is not yet an official member of the Bamboo Rock Gym, but he may become one in the future. He instructs Yanqi to teach Shiyu how to use the magnetic zone as a training ground to prepare his pet beast for the challenges ahead. Coincidentally, Shiyu has already planned to go there, but additional intel is always welcome. Yanqi becomes emotional upon hearing that Shiyu is already being trained even before officially joining the gym. He tries to hold back tears, but clearly he is overwhelmed. Someone needs to tell him to get it together because everything is fine. Meanwhile, Shiyu sits down to enjoy his beloved cup noodles. As he eats, a recovered Yanqi approaches him and formally introduces himself. The security guard relays Master Lin's instructions to Shiyu, explaining that the magnetic zone contains not only the electric slime, but also electric ore, an ingredient in some Iron Eater diets. Shiyu, being the brainy tamer he is, already knows what electric ore is, but also knows it is not the most recommended food item. Yanqi whispers in Shiyu's ear to come with him while grasping his shoulder. At a large vending machine near the safe zone, Shiyu listens as Yanqi, the former Bamboo Rock Gym disciple, enthusiastically begins a conversation about Iron Eaters. Yanqi asks Shiyu if he knows about the ultimate moves taught at the gym. Shiyu casually recalls the skills Lightning Palm and Cannon Punch, keeping his calm and collected demeanor. He places a hand on his hip and sips from his canned drink, clearly unfazed by the conversation. He quickly understands where this discussion is going as Yanqi begins elaborating on the training methods for Iron Eaters. Yanqi explains that Iron Eaters can master Fire-type and Electric-type skills, but to learn electric-type skills, they need to consume electrical metallic ores like electric ore. Before Yanqi can continue, Shiyu interrupts and asks why this man, whom he just met, is telling him all of this. Shiyu silently blames Dr. Lu for putting him in a situation where he has developed trust issues. Yanqi, however, is genuinely trying to help. He further explains that diet is a critical component of raising a pet beast, and consuming electric ore is one of the secrets of Bamboo Rock Gym's unique techniques. Yanqi even likens it to how raising a green cotton worm into a Morpho-Helena butterfly requires multiple specific food items to achieve. He urges Shiyu to take notes, as he is expected to study under Master Lin. Yanqi informs Shiyu that eating electric ore requires at least an experience level hardened skill, but since 11's hardened skill is already at a proficient level, there should be no issue absorbing the nutrients. He continues explaining that the magnetic zone is the best training ground for Shiyu if he plans to join the gym. Aside from feeding electric ore to 11, exposing the Iron Eater to electric-type attacks is a basic part of mastering Lightning Palm. Yanqi encourages Shiyu to let 11 try this method, as he knows from experience that if his own Iron Eater had mastered that technique, he could have passed the professional exams. The idea of combining Lightning Palm with Harden sends Yanqi into fanboy mode for a moment. Shiyu thanks Yanqi for all the helpful information. Though Shiyu hasn't been to Bamboo Rock Gym yet, he is grateful for what feels like his first unofficial lesson under Master Lin. Yanqi's advice further motivates Shiyu to visit the magnetic zone. Shiyu looks at the green cotton worm on his shoulder and tells it that they will be mining some ores soon. The worm responds with a terrified look, clearly not excited about the idea. Shiyu reassures the worm, believing that this adventure will help build its courage. After resting and wrapping up his conversation with Yanqi, Shiyu summons 11 and informs him that they are heading out to find something delicious to eat. 11 looks at the green cotton worm, curious about the delicious food, clearly wondering if it might involve the worm. Shiyu reassures 11 that the worm is a friend, not food. The team heads out of the safe zone with renewed energy and determination, their next goal set on the magnetic zone. Injured participants watch as Shiyu and his team leave the safe zone. They recall that this same team had just captured 5 spike boars and now appear fearless as they head back out. The injured tamers feel discouraged in comparison, but perhaps they should follow Chen Kai's example and use Shiyu as inspiration. The brave trio makes their way toward the magnetic zone without any issues. Before crossing a bridge into the zone, they notice warning signs about level 10 beasts in the area and how the magnetic field could affect tamers. Undeterred, they press forward in pursuit of electric ores and electric slimes. However, the journey seems to strain them more than the spike boars ever did. After crossing the bridge, the group follows a trail surrounded by trees, grass, and rocks. Shiyu rubs his head, feeling the effects of the magnetic field, when 11 suddenly growls to alert him. 11 points suspiciously at something in the distance. A glowing piece of electric ore surrounded by visible electricity. The ore appears highly charged and almost impossible to touch, let alone eat. Shiyu suggests that 11 use Harden before attempting to grab the ore. 11 looks at his tamer incredulously and complains, wondering if this is some kind of prank. The Iron Eater appears very concerned about the possibility of getting an upset stomach, which could interfere with his training. The idea of digestive issues visibly upsets 11, and for a moment, he seems to doubt his tamer's intentions. He even suspects that Shiyu might be using this as an excuse to make him stop overtraining. Shiyu assures 11 that the ore is safe to eat and explains that his proficient level Harden will protect him from any harm. Trusting his tamer, 11 reluctantly reaches for the electric ore. As his claws make contact, sparks fly and electricity buzzes loudly. 11's fur stands on end, and he grimaces but manages to pull off a piece of the ore. Despite his bravery, he lets out a rough growl after being mildly electrocuted. He sits on the ground, staring at the piece of ore in his claws. The Iron Eater looks at the ore as though it might bite him back and then turns to Shiyu, silently asking his tamer to try it first. Shiyu reassures 11 again, reminding him that his experience level quick heal will immediately restore him if anything goes wrong. Reluctantly, 11 finally eats the yellow ore, chewing it with all his might. This is a rare sight. 11, who usually eats anything, now hesitating to consume something. The Iron Eater struggles but eventually finishes the piece, his confidence slowly returning. To his surprise, the ore turns out to be edible, though it feels like chewing on pop rock candies. 11 looks happy and even energized after consuming the ore. He lets out a burp, releasing a small electric charge, and asks if they can find more electric ores. Shiyu, impressed by the results, winks at 11 and happily agrees to continue searching for more. 11 jumps left and right, eating every electric ore in sight, crunching his way through all the glowing, yellow, sparkling ores without wasting a single piece. Shiyu watches in amusement as his Iron Eater devours the mountain's supply of ores like candy. While 11 munches happily, Shu Yu starts imagining the possibilities of feeding his Iron Eater other types of elemental ores. If only he could find more varieties. Shu Yu daydreams about creating an avatar of Iron Eaters, a master of all elements. For now, this vision remains a dream. Shu Yu decides to focus on electric-type skills, since that is what is currently available, knowing it's better to work with what they have. Shu Yu reflects on Yanqi's earlier enthusiasm, and begins to understand why the former Bamboo Rock gym disciple was so excited. Imagining 11 mastering Harden paired with electric-type skills brings a big smile to his face. In his mind, he pictures an electric panda unleashing devastating long-range abilities, like a custom electric cannon. Shu Yu gets excited at the thought of such destructive skills, and what they could accomplish. His daydream is abruptly interrupted when they encounter electric scorpions attached to the ores ahead, absorbing their energy. The electric scorpions, visibly sparking with electricity, appear ready to defend their territory at all costs. Shu Yu, however, welcomes the challenge, finding it the perfect opportunity to test their progress. He commands 11 to take the ores for himself, declaring, "Mega territory ours." 11, clearly sharing the same enthusiasm, rushes toward the electric scorpions, determined to claim all the electric ores. The Iron Eater grabs one scorpion's tail with his right hand and another with his left. Lifting both scorpions into the air, 11 spins them around like a lasso, angrily flinging them aside. The Iron Eater appears to be asserting dominance over what he now considers his electric ores. The professional tamers observing Shu Yu are shocked and outraged at what they are seeing. One observer calls the team evil overlords, accusing them of invading the territory of electric-type beasts. Another sarcastically reminds everyone that it was their decision to bring these beasts here in the first place. Amid their discussions, the monitoring team watches as 11 swiftly knocks out both electric scorpions without breaking a sweat. The Iron Eater's ferocity leaves them speechless. One of the observers questions why 11 is eating the electric ores instead of collecting them for additional points. Another team member speculates that Shu Yu must not be interested in low-score items and is instead targeting level 10 beasts. Their theory is spot on. Another observer remarks that the Iron Eater is unusual for possessing proficient level Harden, a skill uncommon at its age. The skeptical guard suddenly starts piecing everything together, realizing that this same team had hunted 5 spike boars in record time. He calls 11 a monster and confidently declares that a level 10 beast will be no match for this Iron Eater. The conversation shifts when one of the monitors mentions the 3 electric slimes that were recently introduced to the zone. The discussion is cut short as Zhou Wanshan, the chief proctor, approaches. Rolling Thunder, the loudest observer, tries to join the conversation and confidently assures the team that while the Iron Eater and his tamer are strong, they would not stand a chance against the electric slimes. Zhou Wanshan adds that while they might not be able to defeat the slimes, they should have no problem escaping, as the slimes are slow-moving creatures. He jokes that even someone who passed a high school physical fitness exam could outrun them. Zhou Wanshan also points out that even with 11's proficient level Harden, the power gap between the Iron Eater and the electric slimes is immense. The damage from the electrocute skill alone could overwhelm them. As always, Zhou Wanshan instructs his team to continue monitoring Shu Yu closely and to prepare medics just in case the intern tamer decides to recklessly fight the slimes. Shu Yu, however, is oblivious to the commentary from the monitoring team. Using 11's nose, now accustomed to the scent of electric ores after eating so many, Shu Yu tracks down more. The trail leads them to a cave, which they enter without hesitation. Inside, 11 growls to warn his tamer of danger. Suddenly, glowing yellow orbs appear in the darkness, their buzzing energy audible even from a distance. A moment later, a powerful surge of electricity is fired in their direction, hitting the cave walls and sending out an explosive shockwave. Shu Yu and 11 are thrown off balance but quickly recover. Rather than being scared, Shu Yu looks thrilled and announces with excitement that they have finally found their first electric slime. The glowing yellow floating creature, radiating energy, looks anything but friendly. Its buzzing intensifies as it prepares for another attack, clearly unhappy about the intruders. Shu Yu, ever the strategist, is already prepared for this situation. He calmly opens his backpack and takes out the non-conductive gloves he purchased at the start of the exam. Equipping the gloves, Shu Yu instructs 11 to grab the slime and squeeze it dry of electricity. He assures his Iron Eater that victory is theirs if they give it their all. 11 wears the non-conductive gloves handed to him by his tamer and charges toward the electric slime with determination. The electric slime, however, is not ready to go down without a fight. It sends out multiple electric bolts aimed directly at the Iron Eater. But 11, relying on his super sight, effortlessly dodges each buzzing attack, weaving through the electrical blasts with precision. It's no surprise that 11 reaches the electric slime quickly, but something unexpected happens. When he comes face to face with the glowing yellow opponent, he hesitates. For a brief moment, 11 doubts whether he can even eat it. remembering the weirdness of consuming electric ores earlier. Shuyu, seeing the hesitation, reassures 11 with a firm command to hold on to the electric slime and not let go. The Iron Eater, still unsure but trusting his tamer, grabs the slime tightly. The slime tries to repel 11 by releasing stronger electric shocks, but the non-conductive gloves shield him. Shuyu approaches the battling duo, keeping a cool head, and instructs 11 to force the slime to release more electricity. The professional tamers monitoring the fight observe this clever strategy and are impressed by how Shuyu has thought ahead. None of them even realize the vending machine sold non-conductive gloves. Watching the Iron Eater power through the electric slime's defenses, they begin to acknowledge Shuyu's ingenuity. Despite the progress, Zhou Wanshan, the head proctor, remains unimpressed. He insists his colleagues are underestimating the electric slime, doubting the Iron Eater's ability to finish the fight. His skepticism remains steadfast, and it's unclear what exactly it would take to earn his approval. Meanwhile, Shuyu commands 11 to hold the electric slime still so it cannot escape. But escape is the last thing on the slime's mind. Instead, it begins to huff and puff, growing larger with every second. 11 holds the slime firmly, but his grip falters as it inflates to an enormous size. The observers recognize this as the Amplify skill, which boosts the slime's size and strength. The electric slime grows so large that it dwarfs 11, making it harder for him to maintain his grip. Shuyu, unfazed by the development, points a finger at his Iron Eater and orders him to use full-body harden. 11 instantly obeys, activating his skill and covering himself in gleaming armor. However, the electric slime continues to grow, sparking with immense energy. As the tension builds, 11 refuses to back down. He braces himself and reaches out to grab the oversized slime again, resisting the stronger jolts of electricity it releases. Determined, the Iron Eater pushes the slime against the wall of the cave, creating a loud thud. The electric slime wails in pain, clearly impacted by the blow. 11 is thrown back slightly by the recoil but remains steady on his feet. The size difference between the two does not deter him. Performance, not size, determines victory, and 11 knows this well. The slime struggles after hitting the rocks, while 11's body is marked with scratches from the exchange. Despite the injuries, the Iron Eater savors the satisfaction of winning a bout against a level 10 beast. The monitoring team, watching intently, begins narrating the fight like commentators. They note how 11 turned the fight around, but also speculate that the Iron Eater is nearing his limit due to the injuries. Zhou Wanshan, skeptical as always, predicts that the battle will likely end with both beasts knocked unconscious. But what the spectators fail to consider is 11's quick heal skill. The Iron Eater lets out a victorious roar as he activates his regenerative ability, recovering his injuries in an instant. Fully healed and ready to fight, 11 charges toward the electric slime once more. The slime, having regained its composure, resumes its counterattack, sending more electric blasts in 11's direction. The Iron Eater swiftly dodges left and right, closing the gap between himself and his opponent with ease. Shuyu, thrilled by 11's speed and persistence, commands him again to squeeze the opponent dry of electricity. Without hesitation, 11 grabs the electric slime, enduring the endless electric shocks it unleashes. The observers begin debating whether a level 6 beast like 11 can truly match a level 10 opponent. They speculate that it might be due to 11's proficient level harden, his sheer willpower, or perhaps the large quantity of electric ores he consumed earlier. Likely, it is a combination of all three factors. The battle continues as the electric slime throws everything it has at 11, releasing stronger and stronger electric charges. However, 11 does not flinch, maintaining his iron grip on his opponent. Finally, the slime begins to falter. Its energy seems to be depleting, and its once bright glow dims noticeably. The observers watch in awe as the electric slime, exhausted, starts to shrink. It deflates like a balloon, its strength completely drained. With its spark fading, the electric slime becomes weaker and weaker. 11, still holding the now diminished creature, finally lets it go. The slime falls to the ground, its energy depleted, leaving it limp and motionless. Shuyu approaches the battle scene calmly, watching as 11 collapses to the ground beside the slime, clearly worn out from the fight. The Iron Eater hugs his now sleeping opponent and proudly informs his tamer that they have won. Shuyu kneels beside his pet and pats him on the back, praising him for his outstanding performance. He reassures 11 that he did an incredible job and takes the opportunity to touch the electric slime. Using his skill handbook, Shuyu copies one of the slime's abilities. The glowing text of the handbook reveals two skills: Amplify and Electrocute. Without hesitation, Shuyu selects Amplify, knowing its immense potential. The skill is recorded instantly, bringing a wide smile to his face. Shuyu is pleased with the skill 11 has acquired and starts stretching the captured electric slime. The proctors, watching from afar, are stunned by what they're witnessing. Their expectations are shattered as they see the new intern Tamer and his team perform beyond anything they imagined. Despite their vast experience, they are left terrified, dubbing Shiryu's team as monsters. Shiryu, however, is unaware of their judgment and is instead focused on the electric ores in the cave. He's happy that 11 will have food and that there are plenty of ores to take home. Shiryu begins training the electric slime, ordering it to eat 2 chunks of electric ores daily and release the same amount of electricity it consumes. He doesn't give the defeated beast time to rest. The electric slime is turned into an electricity generator, which will help 11 develop resistance to electric attacks and improve his affinity for electricity. The Tamer believes this is the perfect training regimen for 11. While the electric slime is exhausted just hearing the plan, Shiryu remains focused on 11's training. He tells his beasts they will rest after dinner and continue training later. 11 is excited, but the electric slime is not. Yanqi watches in disbelief, recalling everything he taught Shiryu. He didn't expect Shiryu to use the electric slime for 11's training. Yanqi is impressed but wonders if Shiryu is simply crazy to use his talents in this way. The following day in the magnetic zone, Shiryu, 11, and Wormy capture 3 more electric slimes. These level 10 beasts are restrained by Wormy's silk. 11 uses the same method as before, wearing non-conductive gloves and using full-body harden to subdue the electric slimes. Shiryu feeds the slimes just enough to keep them energetic enough to shock 11, but not enough to fight back. It's a brutal method. As 11 eats electric ores, the slimes release electric charges toward him. Surprisingly, 11 doesn't seem bothered and closes his eyes, focusing on the energy. He suddenly clasps his hands, electricity surges through his paws, and he roars in shock. The team is stunned as a prompt appears. 11 has learned Electric Palm, the middle-rank skill Yanqi had mentioned earlier. Shiryu is amazed that 11 learned it on his own. After inspecting 11's palms, Shiryu decides to pause the training to investigate further. Carrying the 3 captured slimes, Shiryu and 11 walk into the safe zone and rush to Yanqi. 11 immediately shows off his Electric Palm. Shiryu asks if it's what Yanqi had described. Yanqi, seemingly electrocuted by the situation, is shocked not by the skill itself, but by the impossibility of 11 learning it so quickly. He angrily tells Shiryu that his tips alone shouldn't have been enough to learn the skill. Despite many tamers feeding their iron eaters electric ores and training them with electricity, none of them have learned Electric Palm. Little Bear, feeling jealous, asks what makes 11 so special. Shiryu casually responds that they're just hardworking. Yanqi stares blankly, recalling how he observed Shiryu and 11's training. Shiryu confirms that 11 has indeed learned Electric Palm, despite how unbelievable it seems. He also recognizes the role of Quick Heal, a wood-type skill, in helping 11 acquire the skill quickly. Quick Heal uses life force to promote growth, and since thunder is associated with the wood element in the pincheng, everything that helped 11 learn Electric Palm ties back to wood-type skills. Shiryu believes there's an unknown reaction between the tools used for 11, which makes his learning faster. He describes the process as unconventional and mystical, just like a hardworking iron eater and a tamer who can teach his pet beast skills. Yanqi, recovering from his initial shock and jealousy, confirms that 11 has the Electric Palm skill, but points out that it's still at a beginner level. He explains that for the Electric Palm to be truly powerful, an iron eater's palm must withstand high voltage and generate enough force to stun and pierce opponents. Yanqi recalls their last lesson, and Shiryu immediately understands the importance of the lesson. He's happy he doesn't need to copy the skill at the gym, and is surprised that 11 learned it. Shiryu starts thinking about how skills can interact, like in video games with skill branches. He imagines allocating points to figure out which skills can be learned next. He believes that since 11 learned Electric Palm, it will be easier for him to learn other electricity-based skills. Grateful for 11's hard work, Shiryu adds Electric Palm to the skills handbook. The team decides to give their favorite security guard the 3 electric slimes they hunted, using them as tools until they were no longer needed. Yanqi asks if Shiryu plans to return to the magnetic zone, showing off his backpack and claiming there aren't many electric ores left. Shiryu keeps surprising Yanqi, who jokingly asks for a break from all these shocks. However, Shiryu refuses to hand over the ores for points. Yanqi starts making a call, wondering how many points Shiryu could have earned if he had submitted the electric ores. Little Bear's call is received by Master Lin, the gym leader, who is brought up to speed on Shiryu's accomplishments. Yanqi explains how Shiryu's Iron Eater ate all the electric ores, captured 3 electric slimes, and learned Electric Palm. Everyone is amazed by Shiryu's abilities and his Iron Eater's progress. They head out again, this time looking for something for the green cotton worm, Wormy, to eat. It hasn't eaten properly in the 2 days they've been in the mountain. They run through the forest in search of food for Wormy, who feels honored to be receiving attention. Shiryu plans to evolve Wormy into a rare and practical species. While most tamers wait until green cotton worms reach level 9 or 10 before preparing evolution materials, Shiryu plans to do things differently. His goal is to teach Wormy a unique combination of skills that will set it apart. Shuyu dreams of evolving Wormy into a Morpho-Helena butterfly, a versatile support-type beast with skills like light control and illusions. But he's also tempted by the idea of evolving it into a sovereign-ranked beast, the Ice Phoenix butterfly, a first for their nation. He imagines Wormy learning rare skills related to space or time, such as time travel, teleportation, or opening portals for escape. But Shuyu knows he needs to focus on acquiring evolution materials before thinking about rare attributes. He plans to use Department 11's resources, but only after passing the test and clearing probation. For now, Shuyu decides to focus on getting Wormy to master the silk skill at the highest level. He checks the hunting handbook for materials in the mountains. 11 is happily playing with butterflies when Shuyu spots Dragon Whisker, a yellow and white spiritual plant. It's perfect for Wormy, as it improves the durability and sharpness of silk. Fortunately, they are close to the area where Dragon Whisker can be found. Shuyu urges his pets to move toward the spiritual plant. However, trouble brews when a violet beast with multiple eyes lurks in the trees, rustling branches as it moves. The team finds the Dragon Whisker in an open field but remains unaware of the danger. 11 looks at the plant, recognizing it as Wormy's dinner. Before they can collect the plant, a shadow jumps above them. A large spider with 8 legs and creepy eyes appears, releasing a long thread from the trees. 11 steps in to protect Shuyu, blocking the thread, but soon finds himself trapped and dragged toward the violet beast. Shuyu immediately recognizes the beast as a fiendish wolf spider, worth 4,000 points, and wonders if it's guarding the Dragon Whisker they want. He quickly commands 11 to use Harden to cut through the spider silk. The Iron Eater obeys, breaking free with ease. After defeating 3 level 10 electric slimes, Shuyu isn't worried. He sees this as another opportunity to test 11's skills, instructing him to use Electric Palm. The battle begins. 11 releases electric charges, but they have no effect on the spider. The fiendish wolf spider pushes 11 back with a forceful strike. Shuyu realizes that the electric palm isn't strong enough to take down such a powerful beast, but he sees this as a chance to get creative. He commands 11 to grab the spider and toss it into the air. 11 hesitates but trusts Shuyu's plan. 11 prepares, knowing his tamer has a sharp mind. The spider sprays violet webbing, but 11 dodges and grabs the web to suspend the spider. Once it's spinning in the air, Shuyu gives the next instructions. Full body harden, electric palm, and start spinning. 11 follows, becoming a metallic powerhouse. As he spins faster, Shuyu knows this is the key to improving electric palm against stronger opponents. Finally, he orders 11 to launch himself at the spider. 11 spins like an electric tornado, making contact with the spider. The impact causes static and smoke, obscuring the scene. Shuyu watches closely, and it becomes clear that 11's combat strength is higher than untrained level 10 beasts. The spider isn't as tough as Shuyu expected, and he starts imagining how useful its danger-sensing skill would be if he could copy it. 11 lands on the ground, and the spider falls behind him, defeated. Shuyu celebrates the victory, and they exchange thumbs up. Shuyu decides to take Super Sight as the reward and continues to hold first place, with 20,000 points. The second place contestant has 9,413 points, showing the vast gap between Shuyu and the others. At the control center, Zhou Wanshan is impressed by Shuyu's quick thinking and strength. He notes that most tamers in this exam are inexperienced, with none having level 10 beasts. The team is amazed at how a level 6 Iron Eater defeated powerful creatures. Shuyu's performance earns him new fans. Zhou Wanshan is eager to see how Shuyu handles the upcoming ruins exploration. An announcement confirms that 3 days of the exam are over. Participants are asked to leave the mountain with security assistance. Some celebrate, while others are relieved it's over, like the man eager for a shower and the girl who was stung 49 times and can't stop scratching. Meanwhile, Shuyu celebrates his new skill and evolution item. He's happy with his progress and plans to buy high-grade supplements as a reward. Only 73 out of 100 participants remain, with many quitting due to injuries or the harsh environment. Zhou Wanshan praises the talent and endurance of those who made it to the end. Zhou Wanshan looks at the participants' points and reminds them that those who didn't finish aren't ready for the ruins or professional exams. He suggests they should just play with their pets at home. The remaining participants are encouraged to check their individual scores. 1 week before the ruins exploration, Shuyu stands at the back of the crowd as the leaderboard is displayed. He's shocked to see that he has 20,000 points, far more than anyone else. No one knows who he is, and everyone tries to figure out his identity. While they're distracted, Shuyu quietly slips away to exchange his points for cash. Chenkai notices Shuyu and calls his name, causing Shuyu to run away in an attempt to leave quietly. The crowd gathers around Chenkai, asking how Shuyu scored enough points for 5 level 10 awakened beasts. Chenkai reveals that Shuyu, a tamer from a popular school in the city, advised him on using clearing pills for peace training. which helped his ice armadillo become stronger. The crowd plans to try this method themselves. Shu Yu arrives at the point's redeeming tent and greets Yan Qi, who is manning the station. Yan Qi tells Shu Yu that he mentioned Eleven's electric palm to Master Lin. Shu Yu is curious about Master Lin's thoughts. Yan Qi explains that Master Lin wants Shu Yu to visit the gym if he has time and offers special supplements and food. Shu Yu agrees to visit and heads on his way. Shu Yu is curious about what Master Lin can teach him. He knows Master Lin is one of the strongest tamers in Pingcheng and wonders if he can learn more than electric palm. For now, Shu Yu is excited to return home, take a hot bath, and relax with Eleven and Wormy. He misses the comforts of daily life. At home, Shu Yu focuses on researching materials for green cottonworm's evolution and auctions. He finds a special wonder bean for 100,000. Though skeptical, he decides to buy it, curious if it can help teach high-level skills like Amplify, Absolute Slumber, and Intimidate. Shu Yu has spent 1 million, leaving him with 99 million, and he reflects on his progress. The money he spent on supplements lets him teach 11 high-level skills and master current ones. Accepting Department 11's invitation seems to be the right choice, but the cost of supplements overwhelms him, and he falls asleep holding his phone. His mind keeps turning until he drifts off. Shu Yu is woken up when 11 calls out. After a failed attempt to wake him, 11 kicks him in the stomach. Annoyed by Shu Yu's day-long nap and lack of food, 11 nudges him awake. Shu Yu apologizes, promises to prepare food for 11, and decides to teach the green cottonworm silk skill once he's recharged. The next morning, Shu Yu plans to head to the Bamboo Rock Gym with 11. While organizing his day, his phone beeps with a notification. His supplements have arrived. When Shu Yu opens the door, a brown eagle appears, delivering his package. The delivery man lands, unloads the boxes, and hands one to Shu Yu, asking for his signature. Shu Yu asks if the delivery man is a professional tamer, which the man confirms. He reveals that even professional tamers can have regular jobs. Shu Yu wonders about the standards and pay for such a prestigious courier job, but dismisses it, knowing he's destined for something more adventurous. As the delivery man prepares to leave, he briefly wonders why Shu Yu, an intern tamer, ordered high-grade supplements, but decides not to ask. Shu Yu unpacks his items and immediately pulls out the special wonder bean. He eagerly calls 11 over and prepares to teach him the next skill. As he checks his skill handbook, he considers several options: Amplify, Intimidate, and Absolute Slumber. Excited about Amplify, he decides to teach it first. With his high-grade supplements, Shu Yu knows he'll soon be able to teach 11 all 3 high-ranked skills. Amplify will make 11 stronger in combat when enlarged and help him recover faster when shrunken. Shu Yu pops the wonder bean into his mouth, places his hand on 11's forehead, and chants the skill. 11, although pleased with his achievements, isn't excited about learning a skill so easily. He has worked hard to learn electric palm, and now Shu Yu offers a shortcut. Despite his reluctance, 11 accepts it silently. Once the teaching is complete, Shu Yu checks the cooldown times. Some skills require 8 hours to be retaught, while high-level skills like Amplify can take up to 168 hours. Realizing it will take a week for Amplify to be ready again, Shu Yu feels exhausted. To counter it, he quickly takes another wonder bean. The results are immediate. Shu Yu feels revitalized, and the cooldown for Amplify is reduced to 48 hours. Shu Yu's stamina takes a hit despite his amazing supplements. Feeling the strain, he contemplates the need to improve his stamina and wonders if he should train alongside his Iron Eater. However, the sight of 11, still processing Amplify, brings him joy. Lights and sparks envelop 11 as he concentrates. Once 11 opens his eyes, the aura disperses. Shu Yu asks if his pet has mastered it, and 11 happily winks in response. Shu Yu commands 11 to grow bigger to test their new ability. 11 concentrates and his aura intensifies. His fur lengthens, his arms bulk up, and he transforms into a full-grown Iron Eater. The power surges through him, and 11 feels capable of taking down a wild boar with ease, though it takes more effort than before. However, the skill comes at a cost. 11's stomach growls loudly, signaling the immense energy required. The real hit, though, is to Shu Yu's wallet. He's exhausted but curious about shrinking. 11 complies, shrinking into a baby-sized form. Shu Yu determines that enlarging to double the body size or shrinking to half its size is the limit of their beginner-level Amplify. He dreams of a giant mecha-like 11 one day, but for now, he's content. Jokingly, Shu Yu suggests 11 stay in his shrunken state to save on food, but 11 protests the idea. Shu Yu continues to think about reducing the 48-hour cooldown for Amplify, reading through the skill handbook while inspecting his new items. He recalls that the Wonder Beans can reduce cooldowns by 120 hours and considers trying them. Although they are expensive and low-grade, the manual suggests they can be taken until reaching perfect condition, so he takes a chance. However, he's cautious about potential side effects or an overdose. With the cooldown only 48 hours, he wonders if it's worth using them. He also considers cutting the beans in half, but fears wasting money if it doesn't work. Xu Yu eyes the other items he bought, including a 50,000 cost ginseng infant tendril, but decides to try the royal jelly instead. The royal jelly is a product from sovereign-ranked beasts and is said to have nourishing properties. Xu Yu prepares it and drinks it, hoping it will help. Afterward, the cooldown for Amplify drops by 2 hours, from 48 to 46 hours. Xu Yu feels energized, grateful for his wealth, and relieved to avoid more chemical-based supplements. He's excited about the natural supplements he now has, especially after months of getting strange looks from pharmacy staff. He knows he's the only one who can truly put these items to good use. While inspecting his new purchases, Xu Yu finds a blue-covered item he doesn't remember buying. A note attached reads that it's a tailor-made battle uniform from a secret fan. The idea of having a fan excites him, but he decides to keep this mystery for later. Meanwhile, at the Iron Bamboo breeding base, Master Lin is eagerly awaiting Xu Yu's arrival. It's been 2 days since the wilderness training, and Master Lin, impressed by the young tamer, recalls how Yan Qi believes Xu Yu has more talent than the disciples at the gym. As Master Lin watches 2 Iron Eaters grapple, he feels anticipation for teaching his new disciple Electric Palm with full force. However, he hears that Xu Yu learned it in 1 day without his guidance. This makes Master Lin wonder what else he can teach him. Xu Zhu, from a balcony, calls her father's attention. She invites him to eat out at the Dragon Palace in the fishing village. Master Lin looks sternly at his daughter, Xu Zhu, asking if she has completed her daily training. Xu Zhu shyly looks away, clearly having skipped it. Master Lin reflects on his daughter's potential, recalling how she passed the Tamer examination at 18, but instead focused on researching Iron Eater evolution, leading to limited progress. Regret fills him as he thinks about how she has become weaker and hasn't made much headway with Iron Eater evolution. He insists that she finish her training before they go out, but Xu Zhu says it was her mother's decision. Master Lin reluctantly agrees, asking her to train harder tomorrow. A disciple approaches Master Lin with news that Xu Yu will be visiting if he has time. Upon hearing the name, Master Lin's interest peaks, knowing that the person he's been waiting for is finally arriving. He eagerly agrees to meet Xu Yu. Xu Zhu, curious about this name, recalls telling a story about a disciplined Iron Eater, which she had heard from Dr. Lu. Master Lin is surprised to learn that the person she's referring to is the same as Xu Yu. Xu Zhu wonders if he plans to join their gym, and Master Lin, excited, notes that he's received a request to guide Xu Yu. He's eager to see the progress of Xu Yu's Iron Eater. Xu Zhu had offered help to Xu Yu before, but since he didn't reach out, she assumed he had things under control. Master Lin is left in awe as he learns that Xu Yu's Iron Eater recently won first place in the Wilderness Practical Test, organized by the Tamers Association. Xu Zhu, shocked, remembers that 11 was level 3 the last time she saw him, and such rapid growth seems impossible. The mystery surrounding Xu Yu's Iron Eater has everyone puzzled, and Master Lin eagerly awaits his arrival. As Master Lin reflects on Xu Yu's rare talent, he realizes that his disciples pale in comparison. He wishes they were as outstanding as Xu Yu. Lost in thought, Master Lin forgets about his lunch date with his family, declaring that meeting Xu Yu is more important. Xu Zhu, surprised, remarks that this is the first time her father has rebelled against her mother's wishes. Master Lin, undeterred, tells his disciple to inform Xu Yu to visit in the afternoon. Xu Yu arrives, knocking on the gym's door. He nearly slips his tongue and calls Xu Zhu Panda Girl, but quickly corrects himself. Xu Zhu warmly greets him, and they head to the garden where Master Lin is waiting. Xu Yu sits, and Xu Zhu observes how different he seems, noting the new jacket and his impressive achievements. Master Lin pours tea for Xu Yu and offers his guidance if he chooses to stay with the gym. He promises to teach everything he knows, including Electric Palm and Cannon Punch. He also offers access to the gym's expensive supplements, skill tomes, and the training grounds. Xu Yu is taken aback by the generous offers. Master Lin mentions that an advanced manual will be provided later, along with a pass for Xu Yu to visit anytime he has questions. Xu Zhu, feeling a bit emotional, is moved by how Xu Yu is treated better than she was. The conversation reveals Master Lin's admiration for Xu Yu and his commitment to offering the best resources to help him succeed. Xu Yu is humbled by the gesture, and both he and Xu Zhu are stunned by the wealth of opportunities laid before him. Master Lin sips his tea, thinking that geniuses deserve special treatment. He waits for Xu Yu's response, who raises his cup and thanks the gym leader for the generous offer. Xu Yu feels that the benefits, including freedom, food in place of training, and consultation with a grandmaster, suit him perfectly. This deal allows him to focus his remaining money on supplements. He's also relieved that the gym will take care of 11, reducing his expenses. His only concern is whether the gym can afford 11's growing appetite, especially when he eats in his enlarged state. However, he figures that Green Cotton Worm can find food anywhere, so it's not a major issue. Wormy, too, is low maintenance. Master Lin asks if Shiryu's Iron Eater has mastered Electric Palm and Harden, to which Shiryu confirms. The information has been shared before, but Master Lin and Shuju can hardly believe it. Lin Shuju shakes her head in disbelief. Master Lin advises Shiryu to focus on perfecting Electric Palm before attempting more advanced moves like Cannon Punch. Shiryu agrees, knowing he's struggling to keep up with Eleven's current skills. With 5 skills already in Eleven's arsenal, he decides that learning a Fire-type skill isn't urgent. He'll wait to learn Cannon Punch until he has access to higher-level skills. Master Lin invites Shiryu to learn more about Electric Palm while they tour the training grounds and meet the disciples. Shuju leads the tour, though she's still unsure about the treatment Shiryu is getting. She wonders about her mother's powers and what kind of person she is. Yanqi has told Master Lin about Shiryu's talent, but Master Lin is curious to see it in action. He suggests a sparring match with one of his disciples, which excites both Shuju and Shiryu, who is confident and eager for a challenge. They approach the running track for Iron Eaters, where only inner-turn disciples train. The basic training grounds are where Iron Eaters run after meals. Shiryu overhears them complaining about being forced to run post-lunch, but 11 would be mad if his run weren't intense enough. Shiryu bets that 11 would even volunteer to run if it weren't mentioned. Master Lin comments on the lazy nature of Iron Eaters, which training sessions aim to correct. Shuju agrees, noting that 11 is disciplined, unlike the ones at the gym. Shiryu proudly backs up his statement, sharing that 11 won't eat unless he's completed a certain amount of training. Both Master Lin and Juju are surprised, as that's unheard of. Shuju grows more suspicious, as she didn't experience anything like this when raising 11. Shiryu wonders how she'll react if she finds out the real reason behind 11's motivation. The truth is that 11 feels like he's cheating, which pushes him to work harder, but Shiryu keeps this secret to himself, letting out a small cough. At Bamboo Rock Gym, Iron Eaters undergo basic training to master Harden in pairs. Since they have partners, they don't need gravity or iron boards like 11. Currently, there are Iron Eaters at levels 8 to 10 in the Disciples' training. Shiryu is tasked with battling the strongest one. Hearing this, Shiryu starts to worry, feeling a bit humbled after being so confident earlier. A violet-haired disciple named Zhang Rui is called forward, his Iron Eater with 2 gold piercings. Master Lin leads Shiryu and Shuju to Zhang Rui. Master Lin immediately requests that Zhang Rui pause his training to spar with Shiryu. Zhang Rui is curious about the newcomer, and disciples begin to gather as they see Master Lin arriving with Shiryu and Shuju. They think they should train harder today, and the blonde disciple overdramatically says he'll train until he's hurt, so Senior Lin will help him with his wounds. Master Lin grabs everyone's attention, introducing Shiryu as a new member of the gym. The disciples are pleased to hear this, as it means Master Lin will scold Shiryu instead of them. Shiryu greets everyone, and Zhang Rui warmly welcomes him, offering to help with any questions. Master Lin immediately tells Zhang Rui to pause his training for the match. This surprises Zhang Rui, who knows that if he loses, his training will double in intensity. Zhang Rui accepts the challenge with confidence, believing that he has been chosen to guide the new member. With years of training and being one of the strongest disciples, he is sure he cannot lose. The blonde disciple, disappointed not to be chosen, wishes he could show off in front of Senior Lin. His friend comforts him, saying that this match will help the newcomer understand the strength of the Bamboo Rock Gym disciples. However, the blonde disciple can't help but feel lucky that Zhang Rui was picked for the match. Zhang Rui's Iron Eater, a strong beast with 2 gold piercings, is ready for battle. He urges Shiryu to summon his pet beast. Shiryu calls out 11, who looks small in comparison to Zhang Rui's Iron Eater. The spectators are surprised, thinking that such a tiny cub is going to challenge one of their strongest disciples. They assume Shiryu's Iron Eater is just a level 6 newbie, while Zhang Rui's is a level 10 with Harden experience. They expect this to be an easy win for Zhang Rui, but Shiryu isn't worried. He's confident in 11's abilities. Even Zhang Rui is surprised by Shiryu's choice. With Master Lin and Senior Lin observing, Zhang Rui offers Shiryu the first move, not wanting the match to end too quickly. Shiryu takes the opportunity and commands 11 to attack. 11 bursts forward with explosive speed, leaving a trail of dust behind. Master Lin and Senior Lin are amazed, eagerly watching the action. Zhang Rui's Iron Eater starts to defend, but since 11 appears to be just a cub, Zhang Rui underestimates the power behind the attack. His Iron Eater uses its arms to block the punch, which lands with a thud against its tough skin. The spectators are sure Zhang Rui's Iron Eater will withstand the blow, given the size difference, but they're shocked by what happens next. Shiryu trusts 11 to take control. Suddenly, 11 releases an electric charge. The air fills with the buzzing sound of an electric shock, catching Zhang Rui off guard. There's no way a beast below transcendent rank could have already learned such an advanced skill. The duo didn't see it coming and fail to activate Harden in time. The electricity crackles as it surges through Zhang Rui's Iron Eater. The size difference becomes irrelevant as the electric palm paralyzes Zhang Rui's beast. Master Lin and Senior Lin watch in disbelief as the larger Iron Eater is rendered helpless. Though Zhang Rui's Iron Eater could have stood up again from a normal punch, it is now paralyzed. Zhang Rui struggles to recover from the shock but forces himself to continue. His Iron Eater gets back on its feet using the last of its strength. 11, on the other hand, is ready for the next round. Zhang Rui commands his Iron Eater to use Hard Claw, charging forward and slashing with its paws. The disciples start to panic. Zhang Rui can't afford to lose, but he knows that losing to a newcomer with Electric Palm wouldn't be the worst thing. However, if he loses, he'll face even more intense training. He urges his Iron Eater to attack with everything it has, unsure if he can win. Shiryu isn't worried. He tells 11 not to dodge the incoming attack but to block it and strike back. Shiryu is determined to show 11's full strength, wanting to demonstrate how his pet beast has mastered both Harden and Electric Palm. This is just the beginning. Shiryu holds back other moves for later. 11 stands still as Zhang Rui's Iron Eater's Hard Claw strikes him. The attack leaves only a scratch on 11's hardened skin. The higher mastery of Harden surprises Zhang Rui, who didn't expect the attack to have so little effect. His Iron Eater charges again, but 11 easily ducks beneath the incoming blow, using his enhanced agility and the combination of Harden and Electric Palm. As Zhang Rui's Iron Eater charges its fist, 11 leaps upward, striking his opponent from below and landing a powerful blow directly on Zhang Rui's beast. The spectators are stunned. They knew 11 had explosive power, but they didn't expect him to be this strong. The large Iron Eater crashes to the ground right in front of Zhang Rui, who is left in disbelief. Shiryu thanks his opponent for the battle, feeling grateful that Zhang Rui at least managed to put up some resistance. Zhang Rui curses under his breath, shocked by the power of a level 6 Iron Eater cub. He realizes he's facing a beast that has mastered both Harden and Electric Palm. The disparity between the two Iron Eaters is far greater than he expected. Zhang Rui is shaken, wondering how his seniors, who have trained for years, could never pull off an attack like that. Master Lin takes the opportunity to remind Zhang Rui that tougher training lies ahead for him. He places a hand on Shiryu's shoulder, signaling that Shiryu's progress is noteworthy. The disciples notice the gesture, and amidst the rumors circulating about Shiryu, one stands out as particularly amusing. Shiryu could possibly be Master Lin's illegitimate son, given the power he's displaying. While the idea seems far-fetched, it becomes the most popular and amusing speculation among the disciples. With Zhang Rui's Iron Eater injured, Master Lin advises him to take it to the healing area. He then instructs the other disciples to continue with their training while asking Shiryu to accompany him. Master Lin remains unfazed, and the disciples carry on training, though some still feel tense about the presence of the newcomer. Meanwhile, Lin Shuju, still in awe of 11's transformation, is lost in thought. She's fixated on 11's rapid growth and newfound strength, unable to focus on anything else. Some disciples try to approach her, but she quickly cuts them off, urging them to train harder and dismissing distractions. It's clear that she's fully absorbed in thoughts of the cub she raised. As Shiryu, 11, and Master Lin walk down a long hallway, 11 recognizes the familiar figure of the old man. He realizes that Master Lin must have spent considerable time at the breeding base. They enter a room labeled Battle, engraved on the floor. To 11's surprise, he is greeted by Lin Shuju, who is overjoyed to see him again. She's relieved to see that the cub she raised is still the same, though astonished by the immense power 11 has gained. Master Lin praises Shiryu's Iron Eater, acknowledging its strength, but quickly points out that 11 is a truly unique beast. Shiryu humbly thanks him, and Master Lin reassures him that he has a bright future ahead. Shiryu feels flattered by the attention, though Master Lin can't help but feel a tinge of sadness, knowing there's not much more he can teach Shiryu at this point. Master Lin pauses before summoning his own Iron Eater, a large blue Thunder Iron Eater. The beast, twice the size of its tamer, appears with a confident stance and massive metal claws. It's a full-fledged, mature Iron Eater with impressive power. Master Lin prepares to demonstrate the next step for Shiryu's training, particularly focusing on the development of Electric Palm. Master Lin recalls the first manual Shiryu received, outlining the different mastery levels for Harden. The basics of this skill are already understood, but now that Shiryu has learned Electric Palm, Master Lin explains that it's still at a beginner level. While the skill is strong enough to paralyze an opponent, as demonstrated earlier, it lacks the penetrating power needed to break through hardened defenses immediately. Master Lin signals his Iron Eater to demonstrate the next step. Green columns rise from the ground in the training room, and the giant Thunder Iron Eater turns to face them. It charges its palm, generating blue electricity around its fist. With a powerful roar, it releases the energy, and the blue electricity shoots straight toward the green column. Upon contact, the column shatters in a massive rumble, demonstrating the destructive power of this proficient-level Electric Palm. The piercing and penetrating abilities of the skill are clear to everyone in the room. Yu is left in awe, witnessing the vast difference in power. 11, however, is inspired by the demonstration and looks eager to train harder. Master Lin asks Yu if 11 will grow up to be as powerful as that, making Yu smile. But the lesson isn't over yet. Master Lin wants to demonstrate the proficient level of electric palm further. Noticing that 11 is tired after using the skill once, Master Lin signals his Iron Eater to prepare for the next phase of the demonstration. At the proficient level, electric palm can be maintained much longer, with the electricity enveloping both hands, acting like armor. Master Lin is eager to show how 11 can progress, emphasizing the importance of mastering this advanced technique for the future. The Big Iron Eater focuses on generating electricity, and this electricity begins to cover its entire body. Master Lin is confident that the duo will train to reach this high level. Suddenly, his pet beast zooms through the room at lightning speed. The perfect level means using high electricity voltage to stimulate the Iron Eater's body, producing explosive power, enabling even large Iron Eaters to move like the wind. So far, the team has made progress in power, defense, and speed. Electric Palm, when mastered, is definitely overpowered. An electric laser begins charging above the room. Once fully powered, it discharges a line of electricity aimed directly at the arena. The Big Iron Eater interrupts the discharge and cuts through the electricity. Yu is amazed by this higher-level demonstration. 11 is also impressed, begging to be taught this skill, even though he usually avoids shortcuts. He plans to make up for it later. The display of electric palm excites them both. Master Lin tells them that this level is nothing. He urges his Iron Eater as they prepare to show what Yu and 11 should aim for. Master Lin snaps his fingers, and the Big Iron Eater raises its hands in the air. More electricity starts to generate at its palms and courses through its body. The Big Iron Eater begins to use Harden. This surprises Yu and 11. The Iron Eater smiles, looking like a lightning emperor, and no one should dare cross its path. Yu explains that this is not just a simple combination, but a fusion of Harden and electric palm beyond the perfect level. It's called an esoteric skill, a combination of two perfect level skills, something seen only in grandmasters. Her father's esoteric skill is electric armor. Yu has witnessed this many times, using her phone as she explains. She knows this skill can stand its ground against a sovereign-level beast. She puts her phone away and explains that combos are difficult to master. Harden and electric palm are not natural combo skills for Iron Eaters, as these two skills are usually mastered separately. Yu saw how Master Lin struggled to teach his pet beast this combo. Using both skills at once isn't easy. She notes that mastering combo skills involves 2 steps. First, determining if the pet beast can use both skills simultaneously, and second, figuring out if they're compatible. Raising the mastery level of both skills helps the beast coordinate the combo. Currently, 11 is a beginner in electric palm and proficient in Harden. This thought sends Yu into overdrive. Shuju adds that in the taming world, it is said that a combo may not be the strongest skill, but the strongest skill is a combo. This leads to the term esoteric skills, coined by high-ranking tamers for combinations of perfect-level skills. Mastery and the strength of these skills are crucial in judging a tamer's ability to raise their pet beast. Yu, a genius, absorbs this information quickly. Master Lin feels the discussion is raised too early since Yu isn't even a professional tamer yet, but geniuses are treated differently. He looks at Yu, confident that with his guidance, this student can achieve the impossible. Yu raises a concern about what electric armor lacks, not as an insult, but as an observation. This bold statement shocks the senior tamers. Master Lin is stunned, and he and his pet beast struggle to break the skill they've worked so hard to develop. Yu points out that Iron Eaters don't have the best eyesight, and electric armor, which makes them move at high speeds, may cause control issues. Lin Shuju acknowledges that there's no perfect esoteric skill, but explains that electric armor is effective against huge and slow opponents. Yu suggests that electric armor would be more dangerous if an Iron Eater has a sensing-type skill to predict movements or locate its target precisely. Yu already has the option to perfect this with electric palm, Harden, and Super Sight. He considers that a perfect level Amplify might work better than Super Sight, especially against larger opponents, for the ultimate combo. Master Lin is skeptical when Yu suggests combining multiple skills, explaining that mastering any skill is difficult, especially for Iron Eaters, who struggle with sensing-type skills. He reminds Yu that his telepathy is a unique ability, but he should focus on mastering basic skills first. Lin instructs Yu to concentrate on electric palm before attempting advanced combos like Harden and electric palm. Electric palm is difficult for Iron Eaters, requiring strong electrical resistance and physical conditioning. Master Lin emphasizes that training should be slow and careful, as mistakes could harm 11. Yu, however, is already thinking about future combos, imagining 11 using electric armor to become powerful enough to take on a city. After the demonstration of Master Lin's power, Yu is given a tour of the gym. Xiuzhu shows him equipment designed for Iron Eater training, which allows 11 to train without the risk of destroying Yu's home. However, 11 is disappointed by the lack of intensity compared to his usual extreme training. They move to the electrical training room, where Iron Eaters can train their electrical resistance. The room contains a swimming pool with an electric charge for underwater training, which 11 finds much more exciting. Despite Yu's request to calm down, 11 jumps into the pool. Xiuzhu updates Master Lin, noting that 11 ate a large amount, which is typical for an active Iron Eater. She shows her father the gym's growth menu, which includes electric ores and other specialized foods. Despite Master Lin's initial shock, he reassures himself that 11's consumption is acceptable. Yu watches as the gym works to procure more food for 11's needs, acknowledging that the increased food intake is a challenge, but one they can handle. As Yu observes the gym, he realizes that 11's boosted digestion, thanks to his taming dimension, will help process the food. He feels confident 11 can reach transcendent rank before he's 2 years old, based on his rapid progress and the right environment. Yu believes 11 is more than capable of passing the professional exam, and his own development as a tamer needs attention as well. He plans to learn more about training materials for tamers. Yu heads to the Iron Bamboo breeding base to purchase training methods for Electric Palm, receiving a flash drive from Xiuzhu. She warns him not to lose it and wishes him good luck. Yu, deeply focused on learning, takes the flash drive. Xiuzhu, observing Yu's dedication, understands her father's hopes that Yu will help 11 overcome the limits of his race. However, Yu notices the worry in Xiuzhu's eyes and reassures her that she doesn't need to worry about him.